Chapter 396. Ferocious Third Elder, quickly think of a way. If this continues, we are likely to be wiped out. The death of the last 3 evil blood guards caused the Zhong family experts to reveal a look of fear. They all placed their hopes on the late primal core stage Third Elder. Zhong Bin was seriously injured and it was unknown whether he could survive. Grand Elder Zhong Jian was also seriously injured and was equivalent to a cripple. As for Second Elder Zhong Hao, he still hasn't come out of the Zhong family, but from Ningyu's performance, it was very likely that Zhong Hao had died in battle. Having lost 3 pillars of support, the Zhong family experts could only place all their hopes on the Third Elder. Damn it! Hearing the words coming from the surroundings, Zhong Maohai's face was gloomy. As the Third Elder of the Zhong family, he should indeed stand up and save the Zhong family from this crisis. Zhong Maohai knew that it was Zhong Bin, Zhong Hao, and Zhong Jian who colluded with the Corpsean sect. It had nothing to do with the surrounding Zhong family experts. You guys, go and bring Zhong Bin and Zhong Jian here. Suddenly, Zhong Maohai clenched his teeth and coldly said, they colluded with the Corpsean sect, which is a heinous crime. Today, I, Zhong Maohai, will be a hero and enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. Swish. Zhong Maohai's words caused the surroundings to fall into a brief silence. The onlookers all looked at Zhong Maohai with their mouths slightly open, their faces full of disbelief. Voila! After a brief silence, bursts of exclamations burst out from the surroundings. Is Zhong Maohai stupid? He wants to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens? Didn't you hear what he said? Zhong Bin and Zhong Jian colluded with the Corpsean sect. The implication is that he didn't collude with the Corpsean sect. He didn't collude with the Corpsean sect. Who would believe that? That's right, as the Third Elder of the Zhong family, I will be the first to not believe that he didn't collude with the Corpsean sect. It doesn't matter if you don't believe it, as long as Ningyu and the others believe it. Hearing this, everyone shifted their gaze to Ningyu, wanting to see how Ningyu would react. In fact, after hearing Zhong Maohai's words, Ningyu was also a little shocked. He felt that Zhong Maohai was acting. It was impossible for the Zhong family to only have 3 people colluding with the Corpsean sect. Ningyu, do you want it? The Red Devil came to Ningyu's side and stretched out his palm to lightly draw a line across his neck. Not at the moment. Let's wait and see. Shaking his head, Ningyu also wanted to see what Zhong Maohai was up to. Humph. You don't even listen to me anymore? In the distance, Zhong Maohai coldly snorted when he saw that the people beside him did not react. He said, since all of you are not going to do anything, I will do it myself. With that, Zhong Maohai pushed through the crowd and came to Zhong Jian and Zhong Bin. Zhong Maohai, what are you doing? Compared to Zhong Bin, Zhong Jian's injury was slightly lighter. Seeing Zhong Maohai's ferocious look, he used all his strength to scold him. Zhong Bin's injuries were more serious. He could only watch as Zhong Maohai walked towards him, unable to speak. What do I want to do? You ignored my advice and insisted on colluding with the Corpsean sect. The Zhong family was almost dragged into the abyss of eternal damnation by you. Zhong Maohai gritted his teeth and said, today, I will do justice on behalf of heaven and get rid of you 2 scum. With that, Zhong Maohai waved his sleeve and a silver-white flying sword appeared in his hand. Swish. Swish. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Zhong Maohai waved the silver-white flying sword and sent out 2 sword rays. Puff. Puff. The speed of the sword rays was very fast. In the blink of an eye, they were on the necks of Zhong Jian and Zhong Bin. Zhong Maohai, you. It was not until they died that Zhong Jian and Zhong Bin realized that in front of a strong desire to live, some people could do anything. Buzz. Zhong Maohai's sudden attack was completely unexpected. Even Ningyu was a little surprised. The 2 experts of the Zhong family, Zhong Bin of the early yin-yang stage and Zhong Jian of the peak primal core stage, were killed just like that. It's far more than that. If I'm not wrong, Zhong Hao must also be dead, and he died in the hands of Ningyu. Zhong Maohai is really bold. I originally thought he was just saying it, but I didn't expect him to really do it. Bold? He is shirking responsibility. If he didn't do this, Ningyu would be the first to kill him. Since he did this, Ningyu won't let him go, right? After all, such a ruthless person will sooner or later be a scourge. Let's wait and see. After killing Zhong Jian and Zhong Bin, Zhong Marohai put away the silver-white flying sword and walked toward Ningyu step by step. After a moment, Zhong Marohai arrived in front of Ningyu and stood still. Ningyu, the two people who colluded with the corpse sect have been killed by me. I hope you can let the rest of the Zhong family go, Zhong Marohai said in a deep voice. You want me to let them go? How can you prove that they didn't collude with the corpse sect? Ningyu cupped his fists and stared at Zhong Marohai with interest. Come with me, I'll take you to a place. Zhong Marohai said, there, you will know whether they colluded with the corpse sect or not. With that, Zhong Marohai took the lead and walked toward the Zhong family. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu winked at Hong Mo and immediately followed Zhong Marohai into the Zhong family. What are they going to do? I don't know. Is Zhong Marohai going to make a move on Ningyu? How is that possible? Zhong Marohai is only a late primal core stage warrior. He is no match for Ningyu. Acting so mysterious, what can't be said here? Ningyu didn't know the discussion of these warriors. After entering the Zhong family, Zhong Marohai led him around and finally stopped in front of a heavy stone door. Ningyu, this is the second forbidden area of the Zhong family. Insert the key you got from Zhong Bin and open the stone door. Zhong Marohai pointed to a keyhole on the stone door and said, the second forbidden area? Ningyu was stunned and somewhat puzzled. How could there be a second forbidden area in the Zhong family? What was in this forbidden area? Then again, he didn't even enter the first forbidden area. At that time, Zhong Hao took him to the forbidden area to find Xu Jinfu, but who would have thought that they would meet Xu Jinfu halfway, causing him to not enter the first forbidden area. Perhaps seeing Ningyu's doubts, Zhong Marohai explained, the first forbidden area is rich in yuan qi, and it is Zhong Bin's private forbidden area. No one can enter without his permission. This forbidden area is different. Then, Zhong Marohai pointed to the forbidden area in front of him and said, to be precise, it is the Zhong family's treasure house. All the treasures of the Zhong family are hidden inside. In the beginning, this forbidden area was open to all warriors above the primal core stage, but after he colluded with the warriors of the corpse sect, he changed the stone door. Now, only his key can open this forbidden area. If you still don't believe me, I can make a heavenly oath. Seeing that Ningyu still didn't believe him, Zhong Marohai forced out a drop of blood and threw it above his head. Kai Kai. Chapter 397. Chapter 397, Zhong Clan's treasury fine. I'll open the stone door and see what you're up to. The heavenly oath had a strong binding force on a cultivator. Since Zhong Marohai had made the heavenly oath, what he said should not be far from the truth. Taking a step back, Ningyu took out the key he got from Zhong Bin and threw it at the stone door. Catcher. As soon as the key was inserted into the keyhole, the stone door made a clicking sound. Creak. Following that, a deep sound rang out and the stone door slowly opened. Whoosh. After the stone door opened, Ningyu felt a thick, cold air hit him in the face. The last time I came to this forbidden area was a month ago. Standing in front of the stone door, Zhong Marohai closed his eyes and sighed. Stop wasting time and go in quickly. Ningyu kicked Zhong Maohai's butt and said in a deep voice, I don't have much time to waste with you here. I'll go in now. Urged by Ningyu, Zhong Marohai quickly opened his eyes and walked in. Ningyu followed behind Zhong Marohai with high concentration, not daring to slack off in the slightest. From the outside, this forbidden area was just a narrow room. But after entering, it suddenly opened up. I didn't expect it to be so big inside, and it's divided into 2 floors. Ningyu split a part of his perception to pay close attention to Zhong Maohai's movements, then his eyes moved around the room. On the first floor of the room, there was a row of shelves on both sides, and there were many treasures on the shelves. However, the grades of these treasures were not too high. The highest grade was only Earth-rank inferior grade. Earth-rank inferior grade treasures were no longer of any use to Ningyu. Even if he sold them, he would not be able to get many crystals. Thump, thump, thump. Just as Ningyu was looking around, Zhong Marohai went straight to the second floor. Ningyu retracted his gaze and followed. As they got closer to the second floor, Ningyu's brows furrowed more and more. In the end, even his expression became very solemn. Corpse yin qi. This was because Ningyu's keen sense of smell detected a familiar scent. This scent came from the yin energy of corpses. That's right, it's the corpse yin qi. Zhong Marohai stopped at the entrance to the second floor. He pointed at the dark green barrier in front of him and said, "This entrance has been sealed by the corpse yin sect." "What are you trying to say?" Ningyu frowned. "Now that things have come to this, I have nothing to hide. I'll tell you everything." Zhong Marohai said slowly. "A month ago, Zhong Bin called all the Zhong family's Yuan Dan stage martial artists here and gave each of them a medicinal pill. Zhong Bin lied to them, saying that the pill could raise their cultivation by a level. Out of trust in Zhong Bin, they swallowed the pill without hesitation. Who would have thought that the pill was obtained by Zhong Bin from the corpse yin sect? It was the heart-devouring pill. Heart-devouring pill. Hearing this, Ningyu's heart trembled and he revealed a look of disbelief. The heart-devouring pill was an extremely vicious medicinal pill. After taking it, every 7 days, the whole body would be in pain, especially the heart, which was unbearable. If one wanted to relieve the pain, they would need to take a medicinal pill. Otherwise, people with weak willpower would not be able to endure the pain. Lu Wei also swallowed the heart-devouring pill. There were only 3 days left until the first time the heart-devouring pill would take effect. Every 7 days, Zhong Bin will give us a medicinal pill. There are still 3 days before the next time the heart-devouring pill takes effect. Zhong Marohai continued, "The pain when the heart-devouring pill takes effect becomes more and more intense. If there is no medicinal pill this time, many people will not be able to endure it." "You mean, you want me to break this yin-qi barrier and take out the medicinal pill for you?" Ningyu asked hesitantly. "The medicinal pill can be left with you as long as you give us one every 7 days. Hearing that there was hope, Zhong Marohai quickly said, "In the future, we will submit to you. If you ask us to go east, we will never go west. You step back, I will try to see if I can break this yin-qi barrier." Ningyu waved his hand and signaled Zhong Marohai to step back. After knowing that there was an antidote for the heart-devouring pill inside, Ningyu's mind became active. Lu Wei was also affected by the heart-devouring pill. Although she could rely on the medicinal pill to relieve the pain, it was not a long-term solution. After 49 days, the effect of the medicinal pill would be reduced by half. At that time, Lu Wei would not be able to endure the pain. Therefore, Ningyu planned to break the yin-qi barrier and see if he could find the antidote for the heart-devouring pill inside. Hearing Ningyu's words, Zhong Marohai hurriedly took a few steps back. After thinking about it, he was still a little worried and retreated to the first floor. Solitaire. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu took out the broken soul sword and slashed out a sword wave. Kai kai. However, when the sword wave came into contact with the yin-qi barrier, a kai kai sound exploded and disappeared. Heh! This yin-qi barrier has the ability to devour. Ningyu raised his eyebrows and felt that it was a little unbelievable. This was the first time he saw that the yin-qi could be devoured. Revolving palm. Since Solitaire could not break the yin-qi barrier, Ningyu kept the broken soul sword and threw out a palm. Kai. The result was no surprise. The palm print that he threw out was devoured by the yin-qi barrier again. After 2 consecutive failures, Ningyu fell into deep thought. Oh right. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and his face lit up. In the next moment, he moved his mind and took out the dead soul's vortex that he obtained from Shu Jinfu. Go! Ningyu shouted in a low voice, and the dead spirit vortex rushed towards the corpse yin-qi barrier. Although the yin-qi barrier had the ability to devour, the dead soul's vortex was specialized in restraining yin-qi. As long as yin-qi came into contact with it, it would be absorbed. Whoosh! As Ningyu had expected, when the yin-qi barrier saw the dead soul's vortex, it was like a son seeing his father. Not long after, the yin-qi barrier was completely absorbed by the dead soul's vortex. Come back! Seeing that the yin-qi barrier was broken, Ningyu waved his palm and summoned the dead soul's vortex to his side. Ningyu revealed an excited expression as he sensed the majestic corpse yin-qi in the death soul vortex. With so much yin-qi, After the dead soul's vortex transformed, it could at least be turned into a powerful dead soul chi. However, Ningyu's control over the dead soul's vortex had not reached its peak yet. Therefore, he could not transform the yin chi into dead soul chi immediately. Keep the dead soul's vortex first and let it transform slowly. After keeping the dead soul's vortex, Ningyu entered the second floor first. When Zhong Marohai, who was on the first floor, saw this, he hurriedly leaped up and charged into the second floor. Low-grade heaven rank flying sword. Low-grade heaven rank spatial ring. High-grade earth rank martial skill. Earth rank. He'd only just entered the second floor when Ningyu was shocked speechless by everything before his eyes. There were truly too many treasures here. Magic treasures, medicinal pills, martial skills, mental cultivation techniques, everything that one could wish for was here. Chapter 398. Boom. Shio. Just when Ningyu was shocked by the many magic treasures and pills, Zhong Marohai raised his speed to the limit and rushed past him. Catcher. Zhong Marohai stopped in front of a counter, raised his right hand, and smashed it down. A crisp sound rang out as the counter in front of Zhong Marohai was smashed into pieces. After the counter was smashed, Zhong Marohai quickly picked up a jade bottle that fell to the ground with a happy expression. Looking at the jade bottle in Zhong Maohai's hand, Ningyu frowned and asked, "The antidote for the heart-devouring pill?" Hearing Ningyu's words, the joy on Zhong Maohai's face instantly disappeared and was replaced with a serious expression. Clenching his teeth, Zhong Marohai handed the jade bottle in his hand to Ningyu and said, "This is not the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. It is just a pill to relieve our pain. As for the antidote for the heart-devouring pill, it is said to be in the hands of the Yin Corpse Sec." After taking the jade bottle, Ningyu separated a bit of his soul force to check it. After a while, Ningyu threw the jade bottle to Zhong Marohai. Are you sure you want to give them to me?" Zhong Maohai's face was full of disbelief. In his opinion, if Ningyu had the jade bottle, he would have something to rely on to restrain them. If they wanted to live, they had to listen to Ningyu's orders. "It's just a few pills. Even if I give them to you, you won't be able to completely remove the heart-devouring pill from your body." Shrugging, Ningyu said, "The heart-devouring pill is very overbearing. Unless you find the real antidote, you won't be able to last long." With that, Ningyu ignored Zhong Marohai and began to wander around. There were a lot of magic treasures and pills here. Ningyu did not refuse any of them. He put them all into his storage bag and planned to send them to the auction house. Seeing Ningyu looting the magic treasures like a tornado, Zhong Maohai's mouth couldn't help but twitch a few times. After the trouble caused by Ningyu, the Zhong family in Ivory City would need at least a few decades to make a comeback. Suddenly, Ningyu stopped at the corner of a shelf. Branches. Picking up a small branch from the shelf, Ningyu wondered, it doesn't make sense for the Zhong family's treasury to keep a branch. Following this, Ningyu released a wisp of his soul power, wanting to enter the tree branch. However, no matter how hard he tried, his soul power could only linger on the surface of the branch and could not enter. Ding! Seeing that, Ningyu took out the broken soul sword and slashed at the tree branch. A crisp sound rang out as the absolute soul sword bounced back. The numbness that came from the web between his thumb and forefinger caused Ningyu's heart to tremble, and he was shocked in his heart. This branch is definitely not an ordinary item. After thinking about it, Ningyu placed the branch at his heart. Such a hard branch might be able to save his life in the future. Apart from this small branch that was special, the other magic treasures and elixirs were also ordinary and did not attract Ningyu's interest, so he put them all into his storage bag. After looting all the magic treasures and elixirs here, Ningyu said to Zhong Marohai, "I'll believe you this once and keep your life for now. If I find out that you dare to collude with the corpse sect again, you won't be so lucky." With that said, Ningyu walked towards the first floor. Seeing Ningyu's back, Zhong Marohai was a little stunned. Very quickly, he reacted and appeared in front of Ningyu in a flash. He hurriedly said, "Ningyu, you can't leave us in the lurch. I and the 10 Yuandan realm martial artists of the Zhong family have all swallowed the heart-devouring pill. Without the antidote, we won't live long." Ningyu stopped and said indifferently, "What does it have to do with me that you won't live long?" Ningyu was not a saint. The life and death of Jong Marohai and the others had nothing to do with him. Besides, even if he wanted to help Jong Marohai and the others, he needed to refine the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. The heart-devouring pill was a 7th-grade elixir, so the antidote was naturally also a 7th-grade elixir. With his current peak 5th-grade soul force, it was almost impossible for him to refine the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. Hearing this, Jong Marohai was also a little embarrassed. The Jong family colluded with the Corpse Yin sect. Although it wasn't his fault, it was his fault that he didn't report it to the royal family. Ningyu, I can make another heavenly oath. As long as you can give me the antidote for 11 heart-devouring pills, the Jong family of Ivory City will follow your lead from now on. Jong Marohai seemed to have made a big decision. He gritted his teeth and said, although the Jong family of Ivory City has suffered heavy losses, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. From now on, we can be your backup and provide you with a steady stream of cultivation resources. That's a good choice. Ningyu frowned and said, the antidote for the heart-devouring pill is a 7th-grade elixir. I can't guarantee that I can get it, but I promise you that as long as I can get it, the extra elixirs will be left for you. Although Ningyu couldn't refine the antidote himself, Zun Jianwen was a 7th-grade elixir master. He could definitely refine the antidote. Anyway, Ningyu would ask Zun Jianwen to refine the antidote sooner or later, so he might as well promise Jong Marohai first. After all, having another family as backup could save him a lot of trouble. Thank you. Fearing that Ningyu would go back on his word, Jong Marohai immediately forced out a drop of blood and made another heavenly oath. The elixirs in the jade bottle can last you for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you can go to the capital to find me. After glancing at Jong Marohai, Ningyu rose from the ground and quickly flew out. After Ningyu left, Jong Marohai breathed a sigh of relief and thought that it was a close call. If he hadn't been quick-witted and brought Ningyu here, then his life would definitely be in danger. Now, not only did he get Ningyu's forgiveness, but he also had a chance to get the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. It was really the best of both worlds. It was just that he didn't know how hopeful Ningyu was to get the antidote for the heart-devouring pill, so Jong Marohai made up his mind to leave for the capital after a week, at the same time, in front of the Jong family's house. Ningyu and Jong Marohai have been gone for so long, why haven't they come back yet? Could it be that Jong Marohai has a trump card that he didn't show and trapped Ningyu in the Jong family? It's possible. After all, Jong Marohai is the 3rd elder of the Jong family. There is. Open, it's Ningyu. While everyone was talking, a figure rushed out of the Jong family's courtyard and landed in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. This figure was none other than Ningyu, who entered the Jong family with Jong Marohai. Ningyu is out. Where's Jong Marohai? Is there a need to ask? Jong Marohai must have been killed by Ningyu. It can't be. If Ningyu wanted to kill Jong Marohai, he would have done it long ago. Why would he wait until now? Swoosh. In the next moment, Jong Marohai also rushed out of the Jong family, dispelling everyone's doubts. However, Jong Maohai's performance made everyone a little confused. Because Jong Marohai stood respectfully behind Ningyu, that expression was like Ningyu's attendant. Hu Qingchen, how's the evacuation of Yang Kuan's people? Ignoring the strange looks of the surrounding martial artists, Ningyu asked Hu Qingchen. Hu Qingchen didn't dare to be negligent and said, when you entered the Jong family, Yang Kuan sent a message saying that all the residents around the ivory tower have been evacuated, even if, rumble. Chapter 399. The ivory tower explodes. What's going on? This sound seems to be coming from the ivory square. Ivory square? What happened there? Why did it suddenly explode? I don't know the specifics, but when I passed by there today, I saw a few martial artists sitting at the entrance of the ivory tower. I don't know what they are doing. Could it be that the ivory tower exploded? Impossible, the ivory tower has stood for so many years, how could it explode just like that? Because the Jong family was quite far from the ivory square, the sound of the explosion was much weaker here, so it didn't cause panic. On the contrary, they were discussing and guessing with great interest. Hu Qingchen immediately informed Yang Kuan to expand the evacuation area. Others didn't know why the explosion happened, but Ningyu knew very well. It must be because the barrier of the ivory square had shrunk to a certain limit, causing the old man on the 10th floor of the ivory tower to fight with the 5 branch palace masters of the corpse sec. In other words, the explosion just now was the sound of the barrier being squeezed to a certain limit. Hong Mo, follow me to the ivory square. Ningyu first instructed Hu Qingchen, then he rose from the ground and flew towards the ivory square. Hong Mo also knew the seriousness of the problem, so he didn't dare to be negligent and quickly followed behind Ningyu. Voila! After Ningyu left, the surrounding people were in an uproar. Let Yang Kuan evacuate the crowd. Why do we need to evacuate the crowd? Hu Qingchen is the strongest person in the city lord's mansion. Will he listen to Ningyu's order? It's hard to say, Ningyu is so powerful. Let's also go to the ivory square to see what happened. Dong. At this moment, Hu Qingchen took a step forward, and his cold eyes swept across the crowd. Then, Hu Qingchen said coldly, "Don't go anywhere." Sun Xing. Yes. Sun Xing replied. Surround this place for me, without my permission, don't let a fly go. Hu Qingchen said in a deep voice. Sun Xing more or less knew some inside information, so when Hu Qingchen ordered him, he immediately sealed the area. All members of the Zhong clan, heed my command. Follow Sun Xing and surround the area. Zhong Marohai knew that his chance to shine had come. There was nothing wrong with befriending Ningyu at this time. At the same time, Ningyu wrapped his vital qi around his legs and rushed to the ivory square at full speed. Zun Jianwen, what's going on over there? Ningyu communicated with Zun Jianwen as he advanced, hoping to get first-hand information. They started fighting. Suddenly, several peak experts rushed out from the ivory tower and started fighting with Dan Master Hall Master and the others. At this moment, Zun Jianwen was like a clay bodhisattva crossing the river, unable to protect himself. His opponent was a huge golden lion. Although the lion's cultivation was not very high, its combat power was very strong, and it was able to suppress him. Who has the upper hand now? Ningyu asked anxiously. The expert from the ivory tower has the upper hand. The alchemist hall master and the others won't be able to hold on for much longer, Zun Jianwen said gravely as he forced the golden lion king back with a single move. Hong Mo, speed up. Hearing Zun Jianwen's words, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat and he hurriedly sped up. The life and death of the alchemist hall master and the others had nothing to do with him, but Zun Jianwen couldn't die. Zun Jianwen was a peak 7th grade alchemist and the key person in refining the heart-devouring pill's antidote. If Zun Jianwen died, the consequences would be unimaginable. After flying at full speed for 3 minutes, Ningyu and Hong Mo finally arrived near the ivory square. At this time, the ivory square was in a mess. The surrounding houses were in ruins, and there were few intact rooms. Fortunately, Yang Kuan had evacuated the surrounding houses. Otherwise, who knew how many people would have died? However, as soon as Ningyu and Hong Mo arrived, they saw the alchemist hall master and the others falling backward like kites with their strings cut. Puff, 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 puff. Each of them coughed out a mouthful of blood. Their expressions were extremely ugly. They didn't expect that the grey-robed old man in front of them would be so powerful. It was completely beyond their expectations. The 5 corpse yin sect branch hall masters working together couldn't defeat the grey-robed old man. One had to know that the grey-robed old man's cultivation was only at the peak of the yin-yang stage. Let's go. Since they were no match for the grey-robed old man, the alchemist hall master and the others didn't want to continue fighting. They immediately tore the void and fled. Want to leave? Hehe, it's not that easy. Seeing that the alchemist hall master and the others tore the void, the grey-robed old man grabbed the void with both hands, and suddenly a cold light appeared. After the cold light appeared, it followed the alchemist hall master and the others into the void at an extremely shocking speed. Ah, old fart, we will take revenge sooner or later. Not long after, a scream came from the void, and then the crack in the void slowly closed. Let's go. Glancing at Ningyu at the edge of the ivory square, the grey-robed old man waved his palm in front of him, and in an instant, a crack appeared in the void. Immediately, the grey-robed old man was the first to enter the crack. After the grey-robed old man entered the crack, the rest of the cultivators that appeared from the ivory tower also entered the crack and disappeared in the blink of an eye. However, after the grey-robed old man disappeared, a voice sounded in Ningyu's mind. The ivory tower will explode later. You'd better leave Ivory City as soon as possible. By the way, now that the 5 Corpse Yin Sect branch hall masters have been seriously injured, the Times Square Tower will guide you to them. But remember, you only have 3 days, the Times Square Tower. Ningyu's mind moved. He thought of what the grey-robed old man had said to him not long ago and quickly took out the Times Square Tower. On the side of the Times Square Tower, there was a very dazzling red light. This red light should be where the Alchemist Hall Master and the others are. Ningyu murmured. At this moment, Hongmo said anxiously, Ningyu, leave quickly. If you delay any longer, it will be too late. I can feel that the ivory tower is about to explode. Go. Hearing this, Ningyu's expression changed. He quickly put away the Times Square Tower and was about to rush out of Ivory City. Ningyu, you can't leave me alone. Before Ningyu could move, Zun Jianwen flew over and said with a sad face. Damn it. Cursing, Ningyu took out his storage ring and put Zun Jianwen in it. Then he used his speed to the limit and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Rumble. Shortly after Ningyu disappeared, a terrifying explosion sounded in this area. At this moment, the ivory tower that had stood in Ivory City for many years completely exploded and shattered. The explosion of the ivory tower caused a terrible shockwave to spread in all directions. Kai Kai. Before the terrifying shockwave left Ivory Square, it seemed to have hit a barrier and quickly dissipated between heaven and earth. Whoosh. Whoosh. Not long after, 2 figures rushed in from outside Ivory City and appeared in the sky above Ivory Square in the blink of an eye. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely find one of the 2 figures very familiar to him. Chapter 400. Chapter 400. Chapter 400 Pursuit 1 step too late. Next to the first prince, an old man dressed in black frowned slightly. Looking at the dilapidated ivory tower, he mumbled, the ivory tower has been destroyed. Senior Mo Xing, who has such great ability to destroy even an ivory tower? The first prince asked doubtfully. The ivory tower was a landmark of the Great Xia Kingdom, and it had an extremely tough defense. The eldest prince was very confused. Who on earth had the ability to destroy the ivory tower without destroying the Ivory City? If I'm not wrong, it wasn't an external force that destroyed the ivory tower. Frowning slightly, the old man who was addressed as Senior Mo Xing said, the ivory tower exploded from the inside. It exploded from the inside. Hearing Mo Xing's words, the first prince was stunned, and then he seemed to have thought of something and said in surprise, doesn't that mean that the destruction of the ivory tower was done by the people in the ivory tower? That's a possibility. However, we still need to discuss the specifics. Nodding her head, Mo Xing said, let's head to the city lord's residence now. We must clarify this matter. Senior Mo Xing, before going to the city lord's manor, I would like to pay a visit to the Zhong clan, the first prince said hesitantly. Zhong clan? Why are you going there? Mo Xing asked. I have some matters to settle. You can go to the city lord's mansion first. Once I'm done, I'll go there immediately. With that, the first prince rose from the ground and flew toward the Zhong clan. Mo Xing shook his head in bewilderment. Thus, he turned around and rushed to the city lord manor. Buzz. After Mo Xing and the first prince disappeared, the space above Ivory Square surged, and an old man appeared. After the old man appeared, he first looked at the shattered ivory tower, then released his perception power, probing the area. After a while, the old man withdrew his perception. Not long ago, Ningyu appeared in this area. Now, he should have left Ivory City. The old man took a deep breath and said with a serious expression, not only is there Ningyu's aura here, but there is also the aura of the corpse sect. After confirming the location, the old man tore open the void and disappeared. Ningyu did not know what was happening in Ivory Square. At this moment, he was with the Red Fiend, advancing at full speed according to the guidance of the Times Square Tower. The 5 Corpse Yin Sect branch palace masters were seriously injured, so now was the best time to kill them. Ningyu naturally didn't want to miss this opportunity. In order to catch up to the Alchemist Hall Master and the others, Ningyu did not hesitate to burn his yuan qi to increase his speed. Ningyu, the Alchemist Hall Master and the others seemed to be fleeing in the direction of Wu Ta City. The Red Fiend did not waste any energy. Instead, it entered the Red Fiend sword and was carried by Ningyu. As he did not have to desperately increase his speed like Ningyu, the Red Fiend could focus all his attention on the Alchemist Hall Master and the others. Wu Tuo City. Hearing this, Ningyu was startled and immediately glanced at the Times Square pagoda. Ningyu was shocked by what he saw. The direction the Alchemist Hall Master and the others were heading in was precisely the direction of Wu Tuo City. Could it be that Wu Tuo City was the corpse yin sect's lair? Thinking of this, Ningyu's expression changed greatly. If Wu Tuo City was the corpse yin sect's lair, then he could not follow them there. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Right, I can ask Zun Jianwen. Suddenly, Ningyu's mind moved and he communicated with Zun Jianwen. Wu Tuo City is not the corpse yin sect's lair. It's just an ordinary foothold, Zun Jianwen said. Hearing Zun Jianwen's words, Ningyu was slightly relieved. Since it was not the lair, then there was no problem. Even if he chased them to Wu Tuo City, it was not a big deal. However, Zun Jianwen's next words made Ningyu have the urge to vomit blood. Although Wu Tuo City is just a foothold, there are a lot of powerhouses inside. There are 5 yin-yang realm martial artists. There is even a middle stage yin-yang realm martial artist. Zun Jianwen did not dare to lie and told him everything. F***ck. If they were not flying at full speed, Ningyu even wanted to slap Zun Jianwen. Not only did he not say it all at once, but he also said it half by half. Hong Mo, move forward at full speed. We must catch up with the Alchemist Temple Master and the others before they reach Wu Tuo City. Clenching his fists, the yuan qi in Ningyu's 4 illusory gold cores surged, and his speed doubled again. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If he missed this opportunity, there would not be another one. Once the Alchemist Temple Master and the others escaped to Wu Tuo City, it would be very difficult to kill them again. 5 yin-yang realm martial artists, and one of them was in the middle stage yin-yang realm. With such strength, even if Ningyu advanced to the peak of the true martial realm, he would not be their match. Therefore, Ningyu secretly made up his mind to catch up with the Alchemist Temple Master and the others when they escaped to Wu Tuo City. Poochie. When Ningyu chased after the Alchemist Temple Master and the others at full speed, the Alchemist Temple Master and the others suddenly jumped out of the void. Damn it! Alchemist Temple Master, it's all your fault. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, the Ghost Talent Temple Master said angrily. How can you blame me for this? It's that old fart who is too powerful. We all fell into his trap. The Alchemist Temple Master's face was gloomy as he said in a deep voice. Humph. You still say it's not your fault. If we had the body explosion pill, we would have long blasted the entrance of the ivory tower open. The Ghost Talent Temple Master snorted coldly. Enough. The Ghost Talent Temple Master had not finished speaking when the Martial Force Temple Master said coldly, what's the use of quarreling now? Now that things have come to this, we should quickly find a place to recuperate, lest something unexpected happens. The Martial Force Temple Master is right. This place is not far from Wu Tuo City. In my opinion, we should go to Wu Tuo City to hide. The Spirit Corpse Temple Master echoed. Wu Tuo City is the Alchemist Temple's foothold. I won't go. If you want to go, you guys go. The Ghost Talent Temple Master said gloomily, I have already contacted the Ghost Talent Temple's Gui Yi. He will rush here soon. Nonsense. The Martial Force Temple Master berated, Gui Yi is carrying out a mission in the capital. If you call him over now, it will easily expose his identity. Quickly contact him and ask him to return to the capital. Gui Yi has already arrived at Wu Tuo City. I'm afraid it's inappropriate to ask him to return now, right? Although the Ghost Talent Temple Master was domineering, he did not dare to act rashly in front of the Martial Force Temple Master. What's inappropriate about it? The plan to attack the Ivory Tower has failed. If the plan to attack the capital fails as well, you should know the consequences. At this moment, The martial force temple master spoke indifferently and did not continue to lose his temper. All right, I will contact him right now and ask him to return to the capital. The martial force temple master did not lose his temper. Instead, it caused the ghost talent temple master's heart to jerk. He knew that the martial force temple master's expression meant that he was on the verge of exploding with rage. The martial force temple master waved his hand. He was just about to give a few instructions when his expression changed drastically and he retreated explosively. How about this? The alchemist temple master and I have suffered lighter injuries. We will stay here to guard the rear. The three of you go to Wutuor city first. Retreat. Swoosh. When he retreated, a sword wave approached from afar and appeared at the place he was standing just now. Bang. The sword wave slashed on the ground, creating a huge hole in the ground. Chapter 401. Chapter 401 Introduction. A preliminary fight. It's you. Seeing the figure that suddenly appeared, the alchemist hall master's expression changed. He said coldly, "Weren't you trapped in the city lord's mansion's secret chamber? Why are you here?" This figure was none other than Ningyu. Under the guidance of the Times Square pagoda, Ningyu moved forward at full speed. It did not take him long to catch up with the hall master of alchemy and the others. Hearing the alchemist hall master's words, Ningyu folded his arms across his chest and smiled. "As for why I am here, you will have to ask the people from the Ghost Talent Hall." Ghost Talent Hall? The leader of the alchemy hall was taken aback. He then shifted his gaze towards the leader of the Ghost Talent Hall. Being stared at by the hall master alchemist, the eyes of the Ghost Talent Hall master flickered, and his face darkened. Since Ningyu was here, it meant that Guier had failed. Trash. Truly trash. Guier can't even handle such a small matter properly. Gui Cai Palace Master said fiercely. "Ningyu, don't try to sow discord between us," the martial force hall master said coldly as he took a step forward. Shrugging, Ningyu said, "You've all suffered heavy injuries. Do you want to surrender, or do I have to beat you into surrendering?" Ha ha ha. As if he had heard the funniest joke in the world, the martial hall master let out a wild laugh towards the sky. Soon after, he coldly said, You are just a martial artist in the late stage of the true martial realm. Even if my injuries were doubled, killing you would still be as easy as flipping my hand." Exactly, even a martial artist in the late stage of the true martial realm dares to be so arrogant. Why don't you take a piss and look at your own reflection? The Ghost Talent Palace Master proudly said. As soon as he finished speaking, the Ghost Talent Palace Master rose from the ground and dashed towards Ningyu. Palace Master Gui Cai had a plan in mind. He was afraid that Ningyu would tell the Alchemist Palace Master about Gui, so he wanted to kill Ningyu as soon as possible, to prevent any unforeseen events from happening again. Just in time. Looking at the approaching Gui Cai Palace Master, Ningyu did not retreat. Instead, he attacked with a backhand punch. Bang! When the two fists collided, the Ghost Talent Palace Master's complexion changed dramatically, and he hastily retreated. However, the intense pain from his fist caused Gui to grimace in pain. He wanted to curse out loud. Now that he was heavily injured, the power that he could exert was limited, and he was only equivalent to an early primal core practitioner. Originally, he had thought that the power of an early primal core practitioner would be enough to kill Ningyu. Who would have thought that Ningyu would be so abnormal? Ningyu's attack just now was already infinitely close to the peak of primal core. Palace Master Gui Cai, let me help you. Seeing the Ghost Talent Palace Master retreat, the Yin Energy Palace Master's figure flashed and blocked Ningyu's path. Shio. With a flick of his sleeve, a wisp of gas flew toward Ningyu. Corpse Yin Qi? Ningyu was very sensitive to Corpse Yin Qi. When the Yin Qi Hall Master waved his sleeves, he acutely noticed the Corpse Yin Qi in the Yin Qi Hall Master's sleeves. However, this wisp of Corpse Yin Qi was obviously not a threat to Ningyu. Ningyu took out the broken soul sword and immediately slashed out a sword ray. Kai Kai. The sword ray and the Corpse Yin Qi collided, and unsurprisingly, the Corpse Yin Qi dissipated from the sword ray. Damn it. If I hadn't been seriously injured, I could have killed you with a casual strike. Seeing that the corpse yin chi that he had used was easily dispersed by the sword ray, the yin energy palace master's face turned livid and he gritted his teeth in anger. As the palace master of the yin energy palace of the corpse sect, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? It was fine if he was defeated by the old man in the ivory tower. After all, that old man was at the peak of yin-yang realm. Now that he had been defeated by Ningyu, he could not accept it. It was as if he had eaten *T. After all, Ningyu was only a martial artist at the late stage of the real martial realm. Even if he had been seriously injured, he could not afford to lose face. Alchemist Palace Master, I will stall Ningyu with the Spirit Corpse Palace Master. You should quickly recover. As long as you recover 30% of your strength, killing Ningyu will be as easy as killing a dog. After the Yin Energy Palace Master and the Ghost Talent Palace Master were defeated consecutively, the Martial Palace Master finally could not take it anymore. He first gave the order, then together with the Spirit Corpse Palace Master, rushed towards Ningyu. Hongmo. Compared to the Ghost Talent Palace Master and the Yin Energy Palace Master, the Martial Palace Master was much stronger. After all, he was at the late stage of the Yin-Yang realm, while the Ghost Talent Palace Master and the Yin Energy Palace Master were only at the middle stage of the Yin-Yang realm. To be precise, the Martial Palace Master still had the strength of the Primal Core realm. Ningyu did not dare to neglect and quickly called out Hongmo swish. Hongmo was already prepared. Hearing Ningyu's words, he jumped out of the red demon sword and transformed into a man in red. Spiritual body? Looking at the man in red who suddenly appeared beside Ningyu, the Martial Palace Master was slightly stunned. Although he was seriously injured, he still had good eyesight. Naturally, he could see that Hongmo was a spiritual body. It's not good to be distracted when fighting me. At this moment, Ningyu held the soul-severing sword in his hand and rushed out like a cheetah. Solitaire. He waved the soul-severing sword in his hand and instantly slashed out a sword wave. Buzz. The sword wave was so fast that it even made a buzzing sound as it rubbed against the air. Oh no. The sudden change caused the Martial Palace Master's expression to change slightly, but that was all. As the strongest among the 5 sub-palace masters, he knew that he could not panic. Once he panicked, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, after a short moment of shock, the Martial Palace Master bit the bullet and blasted out a palm print, clashing head-on with the sword wave in mid-air. Swish. However, as soon as the palm print came into contact with the sword wave, it was sliced into 2. Then, the sword wave gradually expanded before the Martial Palace Master's eyes and finally landed on his chest. Poochie. The immense force that came from his chest caused the Martial Palace Master to spit out a mouthful of blood. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, the Martial Palace Master said grimly, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. I admit that I have underestimated you. It's not that I'm powerful, but that you guys aren't at your peak condition. Ningyu knew his own strength. If it wasn't for the elder on the 10th floor of the ivory tower, how could he possibly be a match for the Martial Palace Master? In the entire Great Xia Kingdom, he was probably the only one who could defeat a late-stage Yin-Yang realm cultivator with a cultivation of late-stage true martial realm. Of course, the prerequisite was that the late-stage Yin-Yang realm cultivator was severely injured, causing his strength to be less than 1/10 of his peak condition. Ningyu, how about we make a deal? The Martial Palace Master said as he rolled his eyes. What deal? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said calmly. It's very simple. Let us go, and I guarantee that you will be able to do whatever you want in the Great Xia Kingdom. The Martial Palace Master tempted. That's right, I can even make you the head of the Zhong family. Become the head of the Zhong family? Ningyu frowned. That's right. The Zhong family has already pledged allegiance to the corpse sect. With my position in the corpse sect, making you the head of the Zhong family is as easy as flipping your hand. The Martial Palace Master slowly set a trap for Ningyu, trying to lure Ningyu into it. How could Ningyu not know what the Martial Palace Master was thinking? However, he didn't care. In front of absolute strength, no matter what tricks the Martial Palace Master wanted to play, it would all be in vain. Chapter 402. Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple. If I kill all of you here, What kind of impact will it have on the corpse sect? When Ning Yu said this, the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple's face instantly darkened. The Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple was furious. It turned out that Ning Yu was not fooled at all. Crack crack. The Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple said coldly, "Since you want to die, don't blame me." As soon as he said that, the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple took a step back, opened his mouth, and spat out a drop of blood. Kai Kai. Yuan Qi wrapped around his fingertips, and the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple instantly burned his blood essence. Whoosh. After burning his blood essence, the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple recovered from the peak of the Primal Core stage to the early stage of the Yin-Yang stage. Burning my blood essence to increase my strength. The Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple's action made Ning Yu's heart skip a beat. He vaguely felt that something was wrong. As a peak 9th grade alchemist in his previous life, Ning Yu naturally knew how to burn his blood essence to increase his strength. However, this method was very damaging to the body. At best, one's cultivation would drop by a level, and at worst, one would turn into a fool. Therefore, even if Ning Yu knew this method, he would not use it unless he had no other choice. Ning Yu did not expect the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple to be so cruel to himself. He had already started burning his blood essence before he was at his wit's end. Hong Mo, go deal with the Hall Master of the Alchemy Temple and leave this old man to me. After taking a deep breath, Ning Yu said to Hong Mo, "You must do your best and kill them at all cost." Understood. Hong Mo knew the seriousness of the problem. Therefore, as soon as Ning Yu's voice fell, he immediately rushed towards the Hall Master of the Alchemy Temple with the red demon sword in his hand. To be able to die in my hands today is the fortune you've accumulated over 8 lifetimes. The Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple did not stop Hong Mo. Instead, he walked towards Ning Yu step by step. After his strength had increased to the early stage of the Yin-Yang stage, the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple felt that killing Ning Yu would be as easy as flipping his hand. Underworld dominating palm. Facing the approaching Martial Force Temple Master, Ning Yu flicked his wrist and sent out a palm imprint. The Netherworld dominating palm was the 4th style of the Netherworld Samsara palm. Its power was much weaker than the revolving palm. The reason why Ning Yu didn't use the rotating wheel palm was because he wanted to test the strength of the Martial Hall Master and see how much he had recovered. Crack. However, when the Underworld dominating palm arrived before the Martial Force Hall Master, it seemed to have hit some sort of barrier as it shattered. The sudden change caused Ning Yu's pupils to constrict slightly, and he revealed an expression of disbelief. Although the might of the Underworld Tyrant palm was inferior to the Netherworld Samsara palm, it was still very strong. Now, even the Martial Hall Master couldn't get close to him. Could it be that the Martial Hall Master had recovered to his peak state? Thinking of this, Ning Yu's heart sank to the bottom. If the Martial Force Hall Master recovered to his peak state, then he would be in grave danger today. Ning Yu, the Martial Force Hall Master, hasn't recovered to his peak state yet. Right now, he's at the Yin-Yang initial stage, and he can only maintain it for an hour. After an hour, his strength will drop to the freezing point. At this moment, Zun Jianwen's voice sounded in Ning Yu's mind. Hearing this, Ning Yu was stunned at first, but he quickly said, "Zun Jianwen, how did you know? Don't forget, my soul force has reached the peak of the 7th grade. Among the martial artists here, apart from the Alchemist Hall Master, my soul force is the strongest," Zun Jianwen said proudly. In fact, before telling Ning Yu this news, Zun Jianwen had made a huge mental struggle. Once he told Ning Yu the weakness of the Martial Force Hall Master, it would mean that he would completely cut off all ties with the Corpse Yin sect and follow Ning Yu wholeheartedly. However, he had no other choice now because he was being controlled by Ning Yu. If Ning Yu was defeated and died, he would also die. Rather than dying with Ning Yu, he might as well take a gamble and bet that Ning Yu could defeat the Martial Force Hall Master and the others. 1 hour her, Ning Yu's eyes narrowed and he muttered, "Although the Martial Force Hall Master has only recovered to the early stage of the Yin-Yang stage, his perception and combat experience are very strong. With my current cultivation, it will be difficult for me to last for an hour." Ning Yu knew his own strength. He could easily kill an early stage Yin-Yang stage martial artist. However, the martial force hall master was different from ordinary yin-yang stage martial artists. 3 early stage yin-yang stage martial artists might not be a match for the martial force hall master. Next, I will let you know what cruelty is. With a cold expression, the martial force hall master rose from the ground and his body turned into a shadow. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Ning Yu. In the next instant, the martial force hall master's right hand brought with it a violent yuan qi gale and fiercely punched at Ning Yu's chest. This attack was very powerful. If Ning Yu was unlucky enough to be hit, he would be crippled even if he did not die. At this critical moment, Ning Yu hurriedly poured the yuan qi in his sea of consciousness into his palm. Then, he punched out and collided with the martial force hall master's fist. Catcher. When the two fists collided, there was a crisp sound. Then, both Ning Yu and the martial force hall master retreated several steps. The martial force hall master retreated 3 steps before stabilizing himself. As for Ning Yu, he retreated 10 steps before stabilizing himself. With this exchange, it was clear who had the upper hand. Haha, Ning Yu, I will give you one more chance. Surrender, and I will not kill you. After the exchange, the martial force hall master's lips curled up into a smile. Me. You want me to surrender? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Ning Yu snorted coldly. Do I have the ability to do so? The martial force hall master pointed at his nose and laughed sinisterly. If I'm not wrong, the bones in your right hand should be broken, right? Right now, you can only display 80% of your peak combat strength at best. You were not my match even at your peak. What do you have to fight me now? Are you that confident? Swinging his slightly swollen right hand, Ning Yu said indifferently, although your fist is very hard, it is still not enough to break the bones in my right hand. Ning Yu was an alchemist. That crisp crack just now had only dislocated his right hand. It had not broken the bones in his right hand. As long as the dislocation of a bone was corrected, it would not affect a true martial realm martial artist much. On the other hand, Ning Yu stared at the martial force hall master and smiled faintly. Burning your blood essence only allowed you to recover to the early stage of the yin-yang realm. I have to say, this is a kind of tragedy. That's right. Suddenly, Ning Yu said, it has been 5 minutes since you burned your blood essence. You still have 55 minutes. What? Hearing Ning Yu's words, the martial force hall master's expression changed drastically. He could no longer remain calm. He did not understand how Ning Yu knew that the secret technique he used could only last for 1 hour. After all, even in the Corpse Yin sect, only a few people knew about the secret technique he used. Chapter 403. Decisive Execution. What? Looking at the cultivator lying on the ground like a dead dog, the martial force temple master's expression changed drastically. The cultivator on the ground was none other than the Yin Energy Temple Master. The Yin Energy Temple Master and the others were much weaker than the Martial Force Temple Master, so they were naturally no match for Hong Mo. In just 5 minutes, the Red Fiend had killed the Yin Energy Palace Master. Not only that, Hong Mo had also seriously injured the Ghost Talent Temple Master. Spirit Corpse Temple Master, go and help. The Martial Force Temple Master's expression was extremely gloomy as he said to the Spirit Corpse Temple Master, you must buy enough time for the Alchemist Temple Master. Understood. Originally, the Spirit Corpse Temple Master wanted to deal with Ning Yu together with the Martial Force Temple Master. However, the Martial Force Temple Master had burned his blood essence to increase his strength, so he did not intervene. Instead, he watched from the side to prevent Ning Yu from escaping. Who would have thought that in just 5 minutes, the battlefield in the distance would undergo earth-shattering changes? The Yin Energy Temple Master was killed, and even the Ghost Talent Temple Master was seriously injured. Swoosh! After responding, the Spirit Corpse Temple Master immediately leaped up and charged toward Hong Mo. Hong Mo's performance was somewhat beyond Ning Yu's expectations. As the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. In Ning Yu's opinion, even if Hong Mo was strong, it would not be easy for him to kill the Alchemist Temple Master and the others in a short period of time. Who would have thought that Hong Mo would not only kill the Yin Energy Temple Master, but also seriously injure the Ghost Talent Temple Master in just 5 minutes. Ignoring the situation on the other side, Ningyu turned to the Martial Force Temple Master and said, "How about we make a deal?" "You're only thinking of making a deal now? It's too late," the Martial Force Temple Master said coldly. "The Yin Energy Temple Master has been killed. Just wait for the wrath of the Corpse Sect." "I think you might have misunderstood me." Ningyu shrugged and said, "What I mean is, if you join me, I can spare your worthless life. You're courting death." Hearing Ningyu's words, the Martial Force Temple Master's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. In the next moment, he shouted in a low voice, and like a cheetah, he dashed directly towards Ningyu. Revolving Palm. Although the Martial Force Temple Master had not recovered to his peak state, Ningyu did not dare to be negligent. Ningyu quickly formed a seal with both hands and blasted out a palm print in an instant. Buzz. The revolving palm was the 5th style of the Netherworld Samsara palm, and it was extremely powerful. After blasting out the rotating wheel palm, Ningyu secretly separated a wisp of his soul power and charged towards the Martial Force Palace Master at an extremely fast speed. Insignificant tricks. Not good. The Martial Hall Master clearly did not take the palm print seriously as it approached him. However, just as he was about to throw out a punch to block it, a shocked expression appeared in his eyes. Rumble. A cold beam of soul power flew out from Ningyu's sleeve and arrived in front of the palm print in the blink of an eye. When his soul force came into contact with the palm, an earth-shattering explosion resounded throughout the area. The shockwaves of the explosion seemed to have eyes of their own as they surged towards the Martial Force Hall Master. Damn it! Without any time to think, the Martial Force Hall Master immediately gathered the Yuan Qi in his knowledge sea in front of him and formed a Yuan Qi barrier. Solitaire. After the rotating wheel palm exploded, Ningyu did not stop. Instead, his eyes turned cold, and the Absolute Soul Sword pierced through the air. A huge sword wave formed, and along with the aftermath of the explosion, it struck the Yuan Qi barrier in front of the Martial Force Temple Master. Crack. Fut. 2 consecutive powerful attacks broke the Yuan Qi barrier in front of the Martial Force Hall Master. Then, under the Martial Force Hall Master's shocked gaze, his chest came into contact with it. The immense force from his chest caused the Martial Force Hall Master to grimace in pain and spit out a mouthful of blood. "I don't think I need to wait for 55 minutes. I want you dead now." With a move of Ningyu's knowledge sea, 4 illusory golden cores flew out and floated above his head. "You have 4 illusory golden cores? That's impossible." The Martial Force Hall Master's eyes widened when he saw the 4 golden cores hovering above Ningyu's head. His face was filled with disbelief. A late-stage true martial realm martialist had 4 illusory golden cores. The Martial Force Hall Master had never seen one before. Among the true martial realm martial artists he knew, let alone 4 virtual golden cores, there was not even a single martial artist who had a single virtual golden core. Noisy. Ningyu growled impatiently. Immediately, the Yuan Qi in the 4 illusory golden cores frantically poured into the broken soul sword. Kai Kai. As the Yuan Qi was poured in, the broken soul sword even let out a slight tremble. After the Yuan Qi was poured into the limit, Ningyu slashed down with the broken soul sword. Whoosh! An extremely terrifying sword beam separated from the broken soul sword and ruthlessly fell on the Martial Force Hall Master's head. The sword beam gradually expanded in front of the Martial Force Hall Master's eyes. Finally, the Martial Force Hall Master was dumbfounded. Poochie. With a successful attack, Ningyu quickly retreated and looked at the Martial Force Hall Master with vigilance. Although the sword beam had landed on the Martial Force Hall Master's neck, Ningyu knew that it would be difficult to kill an expert like the Martial Force Hall Master with a single strike. You have a group of, however, the Martial Force Hall Master's performance was somewhat beyond Ningyu's expectations. The Martial Force Hall Master reached out to touch the blood on his neck and pointed at Ningyu. He wanted to say something, but before he could say anything, he fell to the ground. At this moment, the Corpse Yin sect's Martial Force Hall Master had died in battle. He died just like that. The sudden death of the Martial Force Hall Master was indeed beyond Ningyu's expectations. The Martial Force Hall Master was not weak. How could he be killed in one move? Whoosh! Just as Ningyu was puzzled by the death of the martial force Hall Master, a figure rushed out from the storage ring. This figure was a peak 7th grade alchemist, Zun Jianwen. The moment Ningyu saw Zun Jianwen, he immediately understood what had happened. Zun Jianwen must have used his powerful soul force to suppress the martial force Hall Master, causing the martial force Hall Master to be unable to resist. After coming out from the storage ring, Zun Jianwen hurriedly said, "Ningyu, we should leave quickly. The martial force Hall Master has been killed. It won't be long before the surrounding experts of the Corpse Yin sect arrive. At that time, it will be too late to leave. We can't leave now. We must kill all 5 Hall Masters." How could Ningyu not know about this? However, since the martial force Hall Master had been killed, he couldn't let the other Hall Masters go. Ah! Suddenly, 2 hysterical screams came from the distance, attracting Ningyu and Zun Jianwen's attention. Ghost Talent Hall Master, Spirit Corpse Hall Master. Zun Jianwen was scared out of his wits. In the distance, the Ghost Talent Hall Master and the Spirit Corpse Hall Master were lying on the ground, dead. How long had it been? Including the Martial Force Hall Master, 4 of the 5 Hall Masters of the Corpse Yin sect had been killed. Losing 4 Hall Masters at once, Zun Jianwen could imagine how big of a commotion it would cause in the Corpse Yin sect. Chapter 404. 2 Inner Demon Pills. There's one more. Compared to Zun Jianwen, Ningyu was much less shocked. What Ningyu cared about was not how many Corpse sect branch leaders were killed, but how many were not killed. "Ningyu, I suggest we don't kill the alchemist temple leader." Seeing the look in Ningyu's eyes, Zun Jianwen hurriedly said, "This place is very close to Wuta City, and Wuta City is a foothold of the alchemist temple. We can control the alchemist temple leader and then plunder all the magic treasures and pills in Wuta City." Hearing this, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said, "Doesn't Wuta City have a yin-yang intermediate stage martial artist and 4 yin-yang early stage martial artists? Even if we go there, it will be difficult to plunder all the magic treasures and pills, right? This is very simple. As long as we control the alchemist temple leader, we won't have to worry about the martial artists in Wuta City not giving in." Zun Jianwen gritted his teeth and said, "The most important thing is that the alchemist temple leader is sinister and cunning. It is very likely that he has already used a secret method to send the news back to the Corpse sect. If we kill him, the consequences will be unimaginable." "You mean?" Ningyu pondered for a moment and said, "We can control the alchemist temple leader and make him spread false news?" "Yes." Zun Jianwen nodded. "It's not impossible, but how should we control him?" "My soul force strength." "Oh right." Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to think of something and hurriedly took out the jade bottle he got from Shu Jinfu. Inside the jade bottle, there were 3 black pills. Inner Demon Pill. Originally, Shu Jinfu refined the Inner Demon Pill to control the higher-ups of Ivory City. Who would have thought that it would benefit Ningyu? "Let's go and meet the alchemist temple leader." With a smile, Ningyu walked toward the alchemist temple leader. At this time, the alchemist temple leader was already under the control of the Red Devil and could not move. Although the alchemist hall master was also a peak late-stage yin-yang realm martial artist, he was much weaker than the martial hall master. Furthermore, the alchemist hall master trusted the spirit corpse hall master and the others too much. Unexpectedly, the Red Fiend seized the opportunity and completely controlled them. Seeing Ningyu walking towards him, the alchemist hall master hatefully said, "Ningyu, I have already sent the news back to the corpse sect. Just wait for your bones to be ground to dust." "Hehe, I don't know if my bones will be turned to dust. However, if you don't obey me, I will turn your bones to dust right now," said Ningyu with a smile. "Me." The alchemist hall master snorted coldly and said, "You want me to submit to you? Don't even think about it. Don't be so stubborn. I have 100 ways to kill you, but I won't do it." Ningyu shrugged his shoulders, then threw the jade bottle in his hand to the Red Devil and said, "Give the demonic heart pill in the bottle to the alchemist hall master. Let's see if he will still be so stubborn." Demonic heart pill. Looking at the demonic heart pill in Ningyu's hand, The alchemist hall master's pupils shrank and revealed a look of disbelief. He was the one who asked Shu Jinfu to refine the demonic heart pill. Now that the demonic heart pill was in Ningyu's hands, it meant that Shu Jinfu had most likely joined Ningyu like Sun Jianwen, or had already died in battle. The alchemist hall master rolled his eyes and said to Sun Jianwen, you should know the consequences of betraying the corpse sect. I will give you a chance to capture Ningyu. That way, I can plead on your behalf and pardon your sins. Hall master, it's too late to say anything now. Right now, Ningyu is my master. I will not even frown if he asks me to do anything. Sun Jianwen began to express his stance, afraid that Ningyu would be suspicious of him. Alchemist hall master, don't waste your energy. Just obediently enjoy the demonic heart pill. Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu winked at Hongmo. Hongmo understood and immediately took out a demonic heart pill from a jade bottle. He kicked the alchemist hall master's chest and then threw the demonic heart pill into his mouth. The demonic heart pill melted in his mouth. Before the alchemist hall master could spit it out, the demonic heart pill turned into liquid and seeped into his blood. The demonic heart pill and the alchemist hall master's blood fused together, but it did not pose any threat to the alchemist hall master. On the contrary, the alchemist hall master felt somewhat refreshed. Ha ha ha, Ningyu, I am the alchemist hall master. How can a mere demonic heart pill control me? The alchemist hall master laughed. He is an early rank 8 alchemist. He must have controlled the demonic heart pill's medicinal liquid, making it unable to play its role. As a peak rank 7 alchemist, Sun Jianwen saw through the alchemist hall master's trick with a glance. If you know, then why don't you hurry up and think of a way? Do you want to wait here for the experts of the corpse sect to come? Ningyu was a little angry. How could this Sun Jianwen be so blind? No problem. Sun Jianwen quickly released his peak rank 7 soul force and unscrupulously suppressed the alchemist hall master's soul force. Sun Jianwen, sooner or later you will enter the dark corpse cave and suffer the pain of being bitten by 10,000 corpses. The alchemist hall master was seriously injured, so his soul force naturally could not compete with Sun Jianwen. His soul force was firmly suppressed by Sun Jianwen, causing the demonic heart pill's medicinal liquid to begin to spread. Hongmo, give him another demonic heart pill. As the saying goes, take advantage of your illness. This was what Ningyu was thinking right now. To deal with an expert like the alchemist hall master, he must completely suppress him and not give him the slightest chance to turn around. Got it. The corner of Hongmo's mouth rose. He took out another demonic heart pill and forced it into the alchemist hall master's mouth. One demonic heart pill might not be able to control the alchemist hall master, but 2 demonic heart pills. Even if the alchemist hall master advanced to the peak yin-yang realm, he would still be controlled. Sun Jianwen, Hongmo, look after the alchemist hall master. Next, I will inject my blood essence into his body. Seeing the alchemist hall master swallow 2 demonic heart pills, Ningyu said in a deep voice. The demonic heart pill did not have an antidote. It had a unique way of controlling a martial artist. It was controlled by the martial artist's blood essence. In other words, after the controlled martial artist consumed the demonic heart pill, he still needed to inject his blood essence into the controlled martial artist's body. Only then would the demonic heart pill's greatest effect be exerted and the martial artist would be controlled. Swoosh, swoosh. Hongmo and Sun Jianwen did not dare to be negligent. They quickly stood on either side of the alchemist hall master. One controlled the alchemist hall master's soul force, while the other controlled his yuan qi. With yuan qi and soul force controlled, the alchemist hall master was like a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered by Ningyu. Go. In the next moment, Ningyu forced out a drop of blood essence and injected it into the alchemist hall master's body. Buzz. As soon as the blood essence entered the alchemist hall master's body, Ningyu closed his eyes and tried to communicate with the demonic heart pill. Phew. After a while, Ningyu slowly opened his eyes and breathed out a mouthful of turbid air. His face was filled with joy. All right, Hongmo, Sun Jianwen, you can release your control over the alchemist hall master. Ningyu said with a wave of his hand. Ningyu, you can't. 8. As soon as the control over his body was released, the alchemist hall master screamed. However, as soon as the words left his mouth, he grabbed his head with both hands and revealed a pained expression. Alchemist hall master, your life is now in my hands. If I want you to live, you will live. If I want you to die, you will die. Chapter 405. Chapter 405 INTRODUCTIO and take away Humph. You want me to pass false information to the Corpsian sect? Dream on. The Hall Master of Alchemy harumphed coldly as if he would rather die than submit. Bang! However, just as the Alchemist Hall Master finished speaking, Hong Mo took a step forward and kicked him, causing him to fall flat on his face. You'd better behave yourself. Otherwise, I'll let you know what cruelty is. Hong Mo's entire body's aura was released, crazily pressing down on the Alchemist Palace Master. Even if you kill me, I will not betray the Corpsian sect. The Alchemist Hall Master struggled to stand up from the ground. He resisted the pressure from the Red Devil and coldly said, "You can just give up. I've already contacted the higher-ups of the Corpse sect. I believe it won't be long before they arrive. And when that time comes, it will be the time of your deaths. Oh, your mouth is quite stubborn." As he spoke, the Red Devil raised his right hand and was about to strike down. However, before Hong Mo's palm could land on the Alchemist Hall Master's face, Ningyu waved his hand and said indifferently, "To deal with someone like the Alchemist Hall Master, you only need to let him understand one thing." "What is it?" Hong Mo was startled and asked. Ningyu did not directly answer Hong Mo's question. Instead, with a thought, he began to control the Alchemist Hall Master. Immediately after, the Hall Master of Alchemy clutched his head with both hands and let out a hysterical scream. Seeing the reaction of the Alchemist Hall Master, Hong Mo came to a realization. Inner Demon Pill. Ningyu used the Heart Devil Pill to control the Alchemist Hall Master, letting him know the consequences of not obeying him. The Inner Demon Pill could trigger the inner demons in the depths of a martial artist's heart, causing their internal organs to feel like they were being bitten by thousands of ants. It could be said that once an ordinary Yuan Dan martial artist was controlled by the Inner Demon Pill, they would basically be obedient and would not dare to act rashly. After all, their willpower was weak, and it was difficult for them to endure the pain of being bitten by thousands of ants. However, Yin-Yang realm martial artists were different. Their willpower was slightly stronger, and some could even resist for a long time. The Alchemist Hall Master's willpower was extremely strong. Facing the pain of being bitten by 10,000 ants, he stood his ground without a change in expression. "Zun Jianwen, what are you waiting for?" As Ningyu controlled the Alchemist Hall Master, he said to Zun Jianwen, "Suppress the Alchemist Hall Master's soul force. I want to see how long he can last." Understood. Zun Jianwen did not dare to stop for even a moment. He immediately unleashed his peak 7th grade soul force and crazily pressed down on the Alchemist Hall Master. With his soul force restricted, the Alchemist Hall Master instantly shriveled up and screamed like a madman. The actions of the Alchemist Hall Master caused the corners of Zun Jianwen's mouth to twitch a few times. There was even some fear in his eyes as he looked at Ningyu. Zun Jianwen knew that Ningyu still had quite a few inner demon pills in his possession. If Ningyu were to give him one, wouldn't he end up like the Alchemist Hall Master? Therefore, Zun Jianwen secretly made up his mind to follow Ningyu unswervingly. If Ningyu asked him to go east, he would never go west. "Hall Master Alchemist, how do you feel now? Did you change your mind?" At this moment, Ningyu stopped controlling the Alchemist Hall Master and asked, "If you change your mind, just let me know." "Fut." The Alchemist Hall Master raised his head to look at Ningyu and said angrily, "Hehe, looks like it's not enough." Ningyu smiled slightly and increased his control over the Alchemist Hall Master again, continuing to let him endure the pain of being bitten by thousands of ants. Moreover, Ningyu did not plan to stay here for long. He said to Hong Mo, "Search the bodies of the other Hall Masters, then we'll go to Wuta City." Swoosh. Hearing this, Hong Mo's figure flashed and he began to search the bodies of the Martial Force Hall Master and the others. After a while, Hong Mo flew back with a depressed face. "How unlucky." Hong Mo spread his hands and said, "Apart from a few pieces of top-grade yuan crystals, I didn't even see a strand of hair. Forget it, let's go to Wuta City. Ningyu said. Then, what about the Alchemist Hall Master? Hong Mo hesitated. Yes, the Alchemist Hall Master must have spread the news to the upper echelons of the corpse sect. If we go to Wuta City like this, we may fall into his trap. Zun Jian also advised. It's okay, the Alchemist Hall Master definitely can't endure the pain of being bitten by thousands of ants for long. Ningyu disagreed and said indifferently, if he still doesn't let go when we reach the gate of Wuta City, then we'll kill him. Subsequently, Ningyu threw the storage ring into the air, and a huge ring of light enveloped the Alchemist Hall Master and the others, instantly sucking them into the storage ring. Swoosh. After doing all this, Ningyu rose from the ground and used his speed to the limit, rushing toward Wuta City. Crack, 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 crack. While Ningyu and the others were heading to Wuta City, in a secret room somewhere in the Dacia Kingdom, 4 consecutive cracking sounds rang out. Thump. Hearing the 4 crisp sounds, a peak primal core stage martial artist in the secret room was so scared that his legs turned to jelly, and he directly fell to the ground. Soon, the peak primal core stage martial artist stood up from the ground and hurriedly ran outside. Sect leader, bad news. Bad news. The peak primal core stage martial artist stumbled along the way and finally arrived at a luxurious palace after 3 minutes. Speak. At the end of the palace sat a middle-aged man in a light-colored robe. He seemed to be integrated with the void, giving off a feeling of power without being angry. The middle-aged man stood up from his seat, stared at the peak primal core stage martial artist, and said in a deep voice, "Did the plan to attack the ivory tower fail?" Sect leader, not only did the plan fail, but even the soul cards of the 4 branch hall masters also shattered. The peak primal core stage martial artist lowered his head and said, "What?" Boom. The middle-aged man suddenly exerted force and instantly erupted with a shocking aura. The peak primal core stage martial artist couldn't bear it and directly knelt on the ground, unable to lift his head. The next moment, the middle-aged man withdrew his aura and returned to his original state. "You may leave, I understand," the middle-aged man said calmly. The peak primal core stage martial artist hurriedly left the main hall as if he had been granted amnesty. "I didn't expect the martial artists in the ivory tower to be so powerful. If I had known, I wouldn't have sent the Alchemist Hall Master and the others." The middle-aged man got up and paced back and forth in the main hall. The reason why he didn't ask any more was because he had just received a secret message from the Alchemist Hall Master and knew the ins and outs of the matter. However, the Alchemist Hall Master didn't tell him who killed the Martial Force Hall Master and the others. This was because when the Alchemist Hall Master sent the message, it was already discovered by Ningyu, so he could only stop the secret message. Since the Alchemist Hall Master is not dead, he will definitely find a way to go to Wuta City. After some thought, the middle-aged man said, "Oh well, Shadow, go to Wuta City and fetch the Alchemist Hall Master back. I have some things I need to ask him personally." Buzz buzz. Chapter 406. Chapter 406, Dath Feng Ziwu Ta City was the transportation fortress of the Dacia Kingdom. It was adjacent to the Lanqing Kingdom and was the only city within thousands of miles that could travel with the Lanqing Kingdom. The special geographical environment destined Wu Ta City to be a place where crooks and dragons mingle, with all kinds of forces intertwined. Swoosh. In an open space not far from Wu Ta City, a figure appeared. This figure was none other than Ningyu. After flying at full speed for several hours, Ningyu finally arrived at Wu Ta City. However, Ningyu did not enter Wu Ta City immediately but found an open space to stop. Subsequently, Ningyu called out Hong Mo and the others from his storage ring. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, Hong Mo, Zun Jianwen, and the Alchemist Hall Master appeared in front of Ningyu. Am I seeing things? Why did those 3 martial artists suddenly appear? When Hong Mo and the others came out, they were coincidentally seen by an early-stage true martial realm martial artist. The early-stage true martial realm martial artist rubbed his eyes and said doubtfully, appearing out of thin air, "Are they all yin-yang realm martial artists?" Suddenly, the early-stage true martial realm martial artist thought of a possibility and his expression changed slightly. In his subconscious, only yin-yang realm martial artists could tear the void and appear out of thin air. Now that 3 martial artists suddenly appeared, it was very likely that they were yin-yang realm martial artists. What are you dreaming about in broad daylight? Next to the early stage true martial realm martial artist, a peak stage true martial realm martial artist said, "Let's hurry into Wu-Ta City and not miss this event." Yes, the Lanqing Kingdom martial artists are too arrogant. They actually set up an arena in Wu-Ta City and said they want to challenge the geniuses of the Da Xia Kingdom. They're really too much. The early stage true martial realm martial artist was instantly distracted and said angrily, "Isn't that so? Those Lanqing Kingdom martial artists only dare to be arrogant in Wu-Ta City. If they have the ability, why don't they go to the capital?" The peak stage true martial realm martial artist nodded. "That's right. I heard that Danwu College recently recruited a new core disciple called Ning Yu. He's very powerful. If he's in Wu-Ta City, he'll definitely beat the Lanqing nation's martial artists to the ground." With that, the true martial realm early stage martial artist quickly walked towards Wu-Ta City. Behind him, the martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm followed closely. Ning Yu did not pay attention to the conversation between the 2 true martial realm martial artists. His attention was completely focused on the Alchemist Hall Master. "Alchemist Hall Master, what's your decision?" Ning Yu crossed his arms before his chest as he stared at the Alchemist Hall Master. At this moment, the Alchemist Hall Master had already been tortured beyond recognition. There wasn't a single piece of clothing on his body that was still intact. Along the way, for several hours, the Alchemist Hall Master constantly endured the pain of being bitten by thousands of ants. If not for his strong willpower, he would have long become a fool. Even so, the current him was not much different from a fool. Although he had been tortured to such an extent, the Alchemist Hall Master would rather die than submit. "Fine, since you are so stubborn, I can only send you on your way." With a sigh, Ning Yu gave Hong Mo a look, indicating that he should deal with the Alchemist Hall Master. However, before Hong Mo could make a move, Zun Jianwen quickly said, "Why don't you let me try?" "You." Hearing Zun Jianwen's words, Hong Mo and Ning Yu both revealed a doubtful expression. In the Corpse Yin sect, there are 81 ways to interrogate people. You can leave the Alchemist Hall Master to me. I guarantee that he will be obedient. Zun Jianwen patted his chest and guaranteed. After pondering for a moment, Ning Yu said, "How long do you need?" Ning Yu was weighing the pros and cons. If Zun Jianwen needed too much time, then there was no need for him to wait any longer. It would be better to just kill the Alchemist Hall Master. If the time was short, then there was no harm in waiting. Half a day, at most half a day, and I will be able to make the Alchemist Hall Master change his mind. Zun Jianwen said. Half a day. After thinking for a moment, Ning Yu clenched his teeth and said, "I will give you half a day. If you can't make the Alchemist Hall Master change his mind after half a day, you should know the consequences." Hearing this, Zun Jianwen's heart trembled, and he quickly said, "I promise to complete the task. You and the Alchemist Hall Master enter the storage ring. I will go to Wu-Ta City with Hong Mo first. Contact me if anything happens." Buzz. In the next moment, a beam of light rushed out from the storage ring and sucked the Alchemist Hall Master and Zun Jianwen into it. Then, Ning Yu turned around and walked toward Wu-Ta City. "This, young hero, I would like to ask where the 2 people beside you just now went." However, Ning Yu had only taken a few steps when he was stopped by a young man in white. The young man first sized up Ning Yu, and then he said in puzzlement, "Why did they disappear in the blink of an eye?" Looking at the white-clothed man that suddenly appeared before him, Ning Yu was slightly stunned, and he asked, "You are?" "Haha, you can call me the handsome Feng Zi." The white-clothed man made a gesture that he thought was very handsome and said with a smile, "Madman?" Ning Yu's mouth opened slightly, as if he didn't hear it clearly, and he repeated, "Are you sure you're called Madman?" "Of course, my name is Madman." "P2E, no, I'm called Feng Zi, not Madman." Feng Zi hurriedly explained, but the more he explained, the more confused he became. "Isn't it all the same?" Ning Yu shrugged, and then he walked past Fengzi and walked toward Wuta City. Swoosh. Fengzi obviously didn't want to let Ningyu go. His figure flashed, and he once again blocked Ningyu's path. What do you want? Ningyu's face was slightly gloomy as he said coldly. Hehe, you're very strong, and even just a little weaker than me. Now, there's something that will make you famous in the Great Xia Kingdom. Do you want to do it? Fengzi snickered and tempted. No. Ningyu didn't even ask what it was and directly refused. Hey, why are you like this? This matter concerns the reputation of the Great Xia Kingdom, how can you not care about it? Fengzi followed beside Ningyu like a little tail that couldn't be shaken off. Swish. Ningyu stopped with a swish, and his eyes stared at Fengzi as he said, I'm like this. If you dare to follow me again, don't blame me for being rude. Hey. Fengzi was stunned, but he still didn't change and continued to follow behind Ningyu. Swish. Seeing this, Ningyu's eyes turned cold, and he slammed a palm at Fengzi. Good timing. Facing the palm that attacked him, Fengzi's brows raised. He raised his right hand, and it collided with Ningyu's palm that he couldn't avoid. Pa. The two palms collided, and a muffled sound came out. Following that, Ningyu and Fengzi each retreated 3 steps before stabilizing their figures. This strike, both sides were evenly matched. What? Seeing Fengzi and Ningyu fight to a draw, Hongmo's expression changed slightly, his face full of disbelief. Hongmo knew Ningyu's strength. It was powerful to the point that it made one's hair stand on end. Especially after advancing to the late-stage true martial realm, Ningyu's strength was enough to contend with initial-stage yin-yang realm martial artist. Even under the situation where he unleashed all his trump cards, he could kill initial-stage yin-yang realm martial artists. Who was Fengzi? To actually be able to fight to a draw with Ningyu? Chapter 407. Arena Battle Young Hero, how should I address you? Rubbing his slightly swollen wrist, Fengzi said solemnly, you're very strong, even comparable to me. Ningyu. Ningyu said in a deep voice. Through the hasty exchange just now, Ningyu knew that Fengzi was very strong, ridiculously strong. At the very least, he didn't have 100% confidence in defeating Fengzi without exposing his trump card. Isn't that good? Let me tell you, you have to help me with this matter. Fengzi came to Ningyu's side as if he was familiar with him, put his hand on Ningyu's shoulder, and said, the genius martial artists of the Lanqing nation set up in Wuta City. However, before Fengzi finished speaking, Ningyu slapped his hand away and said vigilantly, you can't be gay, right? Fengzi was a little embarrassed, scratched his head, and said, how can I be gay? My sexual orientation is very normal. Women, beauties, I don't reject anyone. Stop. What did you say the martial artists of the Lanqing nation set up in Wuta City? Ningyu hurriedly said. If he let Fengzi continue, who knew what he would say? If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Fengzi explained, the genius martial artists of the Lanqing nation set up an arena in Wuta City Square to challenge the peerless geniuses of the Xia nation. If they want to challenge, then so be it. What does it have to do with me? Ningyu said indifferently. You can't say that. Yesterday, there were already many geniuses from the capital who rushed to Wuta City, but unfortunately, those geniuses from the capital were all defeated without exception. Fengzi said angrily, so the martial artists of the Lanqing nation spread the word that the younger generation of the Xia nation are all trash and useless. What kind of people are the martial artists from the capital? Ningyu asked. There are only 2 famous ones, Xikong Ling and Xiao Yu. Fengzi explained, Xikong Ling comes from the black market and is at the peak of the true martial realm. Xiao Yu comes from the Drunken Cloud Manor and is also at the peak of the true martial realm. Compared to Xikong Ling, I like Xiao Yu more. TSK, those legs, those breasts, really. Xikong Ling and Xiao Yu's cultivation have advanced to the peak of the true martial realm? Ningyu's brows slightly furrowed, feeling a little surprised. When he left the capital, Xikong Ling and Xiao Yu's cultivation was still only at the late stage of the true martial realm. Only a few days had passed, yet they had both advanced to the peak stage of the true martial realm. If Sikong Ling and Xiao knew what Ningyu was thinking, they would have vomited. In just a few days, Ningyu had not only advanced his cultivation to the late stage of the true martial realm, but also promoted his soul force to the peak of grade 5. To Tian Chen, I said, Tian, I heard that the first prince has also heard of this news and is rushing over personally. Suddenly, Fengzi seemed to have thought of something and said, according to my observation, it's useless even if the eldest prince comes. Unless I take the initiative. No, unless you and I take action, no one can do anything to those geniuses from the Blue Qing nation. By the way, there's another genius martial artist that I'm more optimistic about, but it's a pity that he didn't come. He's the new core disciple of Danwu College, Ning. F***ck. Your name is also Ningyu? Then, Fengzi's eyes widened as he stared at Ningyu with a dumbfounded expression. Since an old friend is here, we might as well go and meet him. Ignoring Fengzi, Ningyu walked towards Wutuo City. Ningyu knew both Sikong Ling and Xiao Yu and was very familiar with them. Two old friends had arrived at Wutuo City. How could there be a reason not to meet them? Hey, wait for me. Seeing that he was about to leave, Fengzi hurriedly followed. Entering Wutuo City once again, Ningyu no longer had the same feeling as the first time he entered. What he got was a sense of calmness. At this time, there were very few pedestrians on the streets of Wutuo City. Ningyu, are you Ningyu from Danwu College's sacred institution? Along the way, Fengzi asked tirelessly like a mad dog that didn't know what fatigue was. No. Ningyu stopped in his tracks and said, I don't believe it. Fengzi curled his lips and said, Isn't that it? I told you, but you didn't believe me. If I didn't say it, you have to ask if I'm sick. Ningyu spread his hands and said helplessly. A hint of awkwardness appeared on Fengzi's face, but very quickly, he returned to normal and changed the topic. Let's hurry to Wutuo City's square. The Blue Qing Nation's arena is set there. There's no hurry. Let's go buy some herbs first. Ningyu said indifferently. In a few days, the heart-devouring pill in Lu Wei's body would take effect. With Lu Wei's Yantian realm cultivation, she definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. Therefore, Ningyu had to think of a way to buy the medicinal ingredients needed to refine the heart-devouring pill and get Zun Jianwen to help refine the antidote. What are you still buying? I've received accurate news that a battle is about to begin, Fengzi said anxiously. If we don't hurry over, it's very likely that another genius from the Great Xia Nation will suffer a heavy injury and have his cultivation crippled. Hey, have you heard? Sikong Ling from the capital is going to battle with the genius from the Blue Qing Nation. Of course I heard. Let's hurry over, we might be able to see this battle. I'm afraid it's too late. The genius from the Blue Qing Nation is incomparably powerful. By the time we get there, Sikong Ling will definitely be defeated. That's not a big deal. Sikong Ling's next battle is against Xiao Yu from the Drunken Cloud Manor. Hehe, Xiao Yu is really an outstanding beauty. I wonder if the genius from the Blue Qing Nation will have tender feelings for the fairer sex. Tender feelings for the fairer sex? How is that possible? He can't wait to cripple the cultivation of all the martial artists who enter the ring. At this moment, two martial artists passed by Ningyu. Their conversation was heard by Ningyu without missing a word. Hongmo, go buy the pills first. Remember, buy more. Hearing the conversation between the two martial artists, Ningyu's face instantly darkened. In the next moment, he took out a storage bag and threw it to Hongmo Pa. After receiving the storage bag, Hongmo called out to Ningyu who was about to leave and threw the red demon sword to Ningyu. I don't have any use for it. You should keep it. When I'm done buying the pills, I'll look for you immediately. Swoosh. With that, Hongmo rose from the ground and rushed towards the nearest pharmacy in Wutuo City. Fengzi, go to the ring. With that, Ningyu stomped his feet on the ground and rushed out. So anxious. Could it be that Ningyu knows that Xiao Yu? Looking at Ningyu's back, Fengzi dared not delay and immediately rushed out, following closely behind. Bang! At the same time, in the middle of Wutuo City Square, a huge circular ring was built. On the ring, two martial artists stood on the left and right. If Ning Yu was here, he would definitely recognize that one of the martial artists was Sikong Ling, peak of the true martial realm. The other martial artist was dressed in green and his cultivation was more vague. However, according to the speculation of the crowd below the ring, the martial artist in green should be between the peak of the true martial realm and the Yuandan realm. Chapter 408. Chapter 408. Crippling cultivation peak of the true martial realm, you are not my match. If you admit defeat earlier, I will not cripple your cultivation. Looking at Sikong Ling, the martial artist in green extended a finger and shook it in front of him as he said indifferently, "Humph. Liu Lishi, don't be so arrogant." Sikong Ling coldly snorted and said in a gloomy voice, "You are only at the half-step origin core realm and you want to cripple my cultivation? Let's see if you have the ability. Haha, some people are truly fearless because they are ignorant." With a slight smile, Liu Lishi's figure immediately dashed out and arrived in front of Sikong Ling in an instant. A fist brought along a violent Yuan Qi gale as it ruthlessly smashed towards Sikong Ling's chest. Facing such a violent punch from Liu Lishi, Sikong Ling's face turned solemn. He gathered all the Yuan Qi in his body on his wrist and unavoidably collided with Liu Lishi's fist. Kacha. When the two fists collided, only a cracking sound could be heard. Then, Sikong Ling's expression changed drastically as he hurriedly retreated. After stabilizing his body, Sikong Ling's right hand was hanging down. It was obvious that he had been crippled. Hua la! Liu Lishi defeated Sikong Ling in one move. It immediately caused a huge uproar at the scene. Below the stage, everyone looked at Liu Lishi in shock, their faces filled with disbelief. Liu Lishi is so powerful that he defeated Sikong Ling in one move? Sikong Ling is a martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm. How could he be so weak? That's right. This time, the Lanqing nation sent 3 peerless geniuses. Among the 3, Liu Lishi can only be ranked 3rd. Liu Lishi is already so powerful. Just how abnormal are the other 2 martial artists? As they spoke, everyone shifted their gaze to the other side of the stage. There were 2 young men standing there. It seems that there is no one in Wu Ta City who can deal with third brother. Tomorrow, we will head to the capital of the Great Xia Nation and set up the stage there. A smile appeared on the face of a young man in blue as he muttered, "Second brother, don't underestimate anyone." Beside the blue-clothed youth, a black-robed martial artist frowned slightly and said, "Wu Tuo City is filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. It is better to be careful. I heard that the first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom will be arriving soon. By then, there will definitely be a fierce battle. The first prince is just a martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm. If he dares to come, I will beat him until all his teeth fall to the ground," the blue-robed young man said disapprovingly. "Second brother, with your personality, you will suffer sooner or later." The black-robed martial artist berated, "I have received accurate news that the Crown Prince has already advanced to the early primal core stage and has mastered a technique that is extremely powerful. Forget it. It's useless to talk to you about this now. Let's wait and see. Who knows, there might be more powerful cultivators in Wu Tuo City who haven't appeared yet." Whoosh. At the same time, in the arena, Liu Lishi did not continue after succeeding in his attack. Instead, he crossed his arms in front of his chest and stared at Sikong Ling with interest as he laughed sinisterly. A martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm in the Da Xia Kingdom is only SOSO. How about this? As long as you kneel down and kowtow to me, what I said earlier still stands. I won't cripple your cultivation." Hearing Liu Lishi's words, Sikong Ling spat out a mouthful of saliva and said angrily, "You want me to kowtow to you? Dream on. TSK. Since it's like this, I can only cripple your cultivation, lest others say that I'm soft-hearted." With a strange laugh, Liu Lishi's feet suddenly stomped on the ground. His body was like a sharp sword as he charged straight at Sikong Ling. Whoosh. Wherever Liu Lishi's figure passed, there was a whooshing sound of wind breaking. The void seemed to be torn apart as the air spread out to both sides. "Sikong Ling, be careful." Seeing such a powerful attack from Liu Lishi, Xiao Yu could not help but shout from below the arena. Xiao Yu had an unyielding character. When she heard that the genius of the Lanqing kingdom had set up an arena in Wu Tuo City, she rushed to Wu Tuo City immediately. Perhaps because he was afraid that she would be in danger, Xikong Ling chose to follow her. Just now, she wanted to go up the arena to fight Liu Lishi. If it wasn't for Xikong Ling stopping her, the one who would have been injured would have been her. If you really can't do it, then retreat from the arena. Therefore, Xiao Yu hurriedly reminded. Retreat from the arena? In the process of advancing, Liu Lishi did not forget to glance at Xiao Yu and said with a sinister smile, "In front of me, he can only stand on the arena and have his cultivation cripple." As his voice fell, Liu Lishi had already arrived beside Xikong Ling and a punch landed on Xikong Ling's chest. Swoosh! Being hit in the chest by Liu Lishi's fist, Xikong Ling's body was like a kite with a broken string, falling straight towards the back. Swoosh! However, just as Xikong Ling was about to fall off the arena, Liu Lishi's figure dashed out and kicked Xikong Ling's back again. Ah! Poochie! Being hit in the chest by Liu Lishi's fist and his back by Liu Lishi's kick, Xikong Ling fell heavily on the arena. He first let out a blood-curdling scream, then spat out a mouthful of dark red blood, and his complexion became incomparably pale. In the next moment, Xikong Ling supported himself with both hands on the arena and stood up with great difficulty. TSK, not bad. With a cultivation at the peak of the true martial realm, you can still stand up after enduring 2 moves from me. I have to say, I really admire you. Smacking his lips, Liu Lishi suddenly changed the topic and revealed a disappointed expression. If you had admitted defeat earlier, I would definitely not have crippled your cultivation. But now, it's too late. As soon as his voice fell, Liu Lishi's eyes revealed a frightening expression, then his legs slightly bent, wanting to rush out. Liu Lishi, I'm going to challenge you next. However, before Liu Lishi could rush out, a loud shout came from below the arena. Hearing this, Liu Lishi was slightly startled and turned his head to look. Below the arena, Xiao Yu's face was full of anger as she scolded, "Xikong Ling has already admitted defeat. Why do you still want to cripple his cultivation?" Admit defeat? Why didn't I hear it? Liu Lishi lightly smiled and shrugged. "Xikong Ling, if you don't want to die, quickly admit defeat." Xiao Yu shouted at Xikong Ling, who was on the verge of collapse, "You're not Liu Lishi's opponent. Where there's life, there's hope. When we return to the capital, I'll let Ning Yu teach him a lesson." Ning Yu? Liu Lishi raised his eyebrows and laughed sinisterly. "That core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute, right? There's no need for him to teach me a lesson. Tomorrow, I'll personally go to the capital to find him." Right, is Ning Yu at the early stage of the true martial realm or the middle stage of the true martial realm? To tell you the truth, not to mention the middle stage of the true martial realm, even if it's a peak stage true martial realm martial artist, I can easily defeat them in 1 move. Immediately, Liu Lishi pointed at Xikong Ling and indifferently said, "This trash at the peak of the true martial realm is the best example. If Ning Yu dares to come, I'll make sure he doesn't come. Is that so?" At this moment, an indifferent voice came from not far away. Hearing this voice, everyone, including Liu Lishi, turned their heads around. Chapter 409. An eye for an eye. Ning Yu? Looking at the thin figure at the entrance of the square, Xiao Yu's mouth was slightly agape, revealing a look of disbelief. She never thought that Ning Yu would appear at this time. Ning Yu? Which one is Ning Yu? You don't even know. The martial artist on the left is the core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute, Ning Yu. He is Ning Yu. So young. Of course he is young, otherwise how could he become a core disciple of the Sacred Institute? This is going to be a good show. According to the grapevine, Ning Yu is very strong, he can even defeat a Yuan Dan stage martial artist. The appearance of Ning Yu caused an uproar around the ring. Everyone discussed animatedly, and the focus of their discussion was naturally on Ning Yu. Ning Yu did not care about the discussions of the surrounding cultivators. Instead, he walked straight to the arena. "You injured my brother. No matter what, you have to leave something behind." Looking at Xikong Ling, who was on the verge of collapse, Ningyu's face instantly darkened as he coldly said, "Ha ha ha." Looking up to the sky and laughing, Liu Lishi pointed at his own nose and gloomily said, "You, a martial artist in the late stage of the true martial realm, dare to speak so arrogantly? Do you want my arms, or my legs? Isn't Ningyu a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute? Why is he only in the late stage of true martial realm? I don't know either. Shouldn't a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute be in the Yuandan stage? The late stage true martial realm Ningyu shouldn't be a match for Liu Lishi. It's hard to say, after all, Liu Lishi is a half step into the Yuandan stage martial artist. It will be difficult for Ningyu to defeat Liu Lishi. What's so difficult about it? Didn't you just say that Ningyu could defeat a primal core stage martial artist? Why can't he even defeat Liu Lishi now? Humph. How could a normal Yuandan stage martial artist compare to Liu Lishi? You have to know that Liu Lishi is a peerless genius of the Blue Qing nation. This time, everyone was obviously not optimistic about Ningyu. After all, Liu Lishi was also a genius, and Ningyu didn't have an advantage in terms of cultivation. Therefore, in everyone's opinion, it would be harder for Ningyu to win. Your name is Liu Lishi? The discussions of the surrounding martial artists naturally entered Ningyu's ears. From the conversations of these martial artists, Ningyu found out that the martial artist on the stage was called Liu Lishi, a peerless genius of the Blue Qing nation. Of course, Liu Lishi said proudly. Idiot. As soon as he finished speaking, Ningyu immediately leaped into the arena. You're courting death. Hearing the word idiot, coupled with Ningyu's actions, made Liu Lishi's face turn cold. Even in the Blue Qing nation, no one dared to call him an idiot in front of him. An aunt could tolerate this, but an uncle couldn't. What if he couldn't tolerate it? Of course, it was to teach Ningyu a lesson. Therefore, Liu Lishi made his move. As soon as Ningyu leaped into the arena, he made his move. It was fine if he didn't move, but once he did, it was shocking. Almost in an instant, Liu Lishi appeared behind Ningyu, and his fist whistled through the air as it flew towards Ningyu's head. Although Liu Lishi verbally looked down on Ningyu, he was not careless in his attack. He used all his strength to defeat Ningyu in one move. Noisy. Feeling the whistling wind coming from behind him, Ningyu first impatiently let out a low shout. Immediately, he suddenly turned around and raised his right hand, coming into close contact with Liu Lishi's fist. Crack. In the next moment, only a crisp sound could be heard from the arena, followed by a scream from Liu Lishi's mouth. Ah! After the hysterical scream, Liu Lishi took a few steps back. However, his right hand was already a bloody mess. Obviously, it had been crippled. My brother's right hand was crippled by you, so it's not too much for me to cripple one of your hands. After crippling Liu Lishi's right hand, Ningyu did not stay on the spot. Instead, he quickly walked to Xikong Ling's side. Placing Xikong Ling's left hand on his shoulder, Ningyu asked, "Are you alright?" "I'm fine, I won't die yet, haha, ah." Xikong Ling grinned and wanted to use his right hand to pound Ningyu's chest. However, just as he raised his right hand, he let out a scream. Seeing this, Ningyu hurriedly released his soul force and entered Xikong Ling's right hand to check on the injury. This look was nothing serious, but Ningyu broke out in a cold sweat. At the same time, Ningyu clenched his fists tightly, his face full of anger. The tendons in Xikong Ling's right hand were all broken. Even the flesh inside had become minced meat. With this kind of injury, unless he changed his hand, his right hand would never be able to recover. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu tried hard to calm himself down and smiled at Xikong Ling. "Your right hand is fine. Wait for me to take care of the trouble in front of me first, then I'll help you treat it." "Ningyu, don't lie to me. I know my injury very well." Laughing bitterly, Xikong Ling said helplessly, "Worst comes to worst, I'll just chop off my right hand. As a man, losing only one hand is nothing." As he spoke, Xikong Ling raised his left hand and was about to chop off his right hand. "What are you doing?" Ningyu hurriedly stopped Xikong Ling and scolded, "I said I can treat it, so I can definitely treat it. Trust me, go down and rest first. We'll talk after I take care of the trouble. Be careful." How could Xikong Ling not know that Ningyu was just comforting him? If it really could be treated, Ningyu would definitely treat him immediately and not let him go down and wait. However, Sikong was also a tough guy. Even after knowing that his right hand was completely crippled, he still showed such determination, which was really admirable. Seeing Sikong walk down the stage, Ningyu twisted his neck and turned around. His eyes stared at Liu Lishi, and a frightening light burst forth from them. What kind of tricks are you playing? The core disciple of Danwu College's sacred institution is only SOSO. Seeing the light emitted from Ningyu's eyes, Liu Lishi couldn't help but shiver, but he quickly concealed it. In order to conceal the fear in his heart, Liu Lishi coldly snorted, "If you look again, I'll dig out your eyeballs. I didn't expect you to be so ruthless. Never mind, you'll pay back double for my brother's injuries." In an instant, Ningyu regained his composure and said indifferently, "You want me to pay double? Why don't you look at yourself?" Hearing Ningyu's words, Liu Lishi was just about to reply when he realized that Ningyu had already arrived beside him. Not good. Feeling the powerful aura emitted from Ningyu, Liu Lishi's heart skipped a beat, and his face revealed an astonished expression. Not daring to be negligent, Liu Lishi hurriedly gathered all the energy in his body onto his left wrist, and with a backhand punch, he made intimate contact with Ningyu's fist. Ningyu and Liu Lishi separated as soon as they made contact, each taking a few steps back. Except, Ningyu only took a step back before stabilizing his body, while Liu Lishi retreated to the edge of the stage before stabilizing his body. Chapter 410. Chapter 410 Introduction ranked second. What? Liu Lishi's left hand has been crippled in one move? Not just his left hand, Ningyu's first move has already crippled his right hand. In other words, in just 2 moves, Ningyu has crippled both of Liu Lishi's hand. Ningyu's strength is actually this strong? Seeing Liu Lishi's miserable state, the martial artists below the stage all revealed shocked expressions. Originally, they did not think highly of Ningyu. After all, Ningyu was only at the late stage of the true martial realm, while Liu Lishi was half a step into the Yuandan realm. Coupled with the fact that Sikong, who was at the peak of the true martial realm, was defeated by Liu Lishi, the crowd was even more pessimistic about Ningyu. Who would have thought that Ningyu's performance would be completely out of their expectations? 2 moves, in just 2 moves, Ningyu had crippled both of Liu Lishi's hand. Especially his left hand, which was badly mutilated, not a single piece of intact flesh could be seen. Ningyu's heart is too ruthless. Liu Lishi only broke the bones in Sikong right hand, and it was fine after that, but Ningyu completely crippled both of Liu Lishi's hands, an early Carnate stage martial artist said, somewhat unable to watch any longer. Too ruthless? Hearing this early Carnate stage martial artist's words, an early Primal Core stage martial artist next to him laughed coldly and said, "Your cultivation is too low, naturally you can't see the extent of Sikong injury." That's right. Let me put it this way, Sikong right hand basically has no chance of recovery, and it might even gradually spread. Another mid-Primal Core stage martial artist continued, to preserve his life, he must amputate his right hand within a day, only then will there be a chance of survival. Hiss. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists all sucked in a breath of cold air. They all understood the principle of an eye for an eye. For Ningyu to be so heavy-handed, it was also reasonable. Swoosh. Swoosh. At this moment, 2 figures, one blue and one black, flew past and landed steadily beside Liu Lishi. "Third brother, your hand." Among them, the martial artist in blue checked Liu Lishi's hands, then turned around and said angrily, "Ningyu, I want you dead." The moment the word die fell, the martial artist in blue rose from the ground, turned into a shadow, and rushed towards Ningyu. Seeing the blue-clad cultivator make a move, the black-clad cultivator wanted to stop him. However, just as he raised his right hand, he lowered it again. In his opinion, Ningyu was only at the late stage of the true martial realm, while Li Minggang was at the early stage of the Primal Core realm. Even if Ningyu was strong, it would still be difficult for him to defeat Li Minggang in one move. Therefore, the black-robed martial artist did not stop Li Minggang. Instead, he hurriedly bandaged Liu Lishi's hands. Liu Lishi's right hand was still in a better condition. It was not completely shattered, it was just a bloody mess. The black-robed cultivator only needed to bandage it slightly. Damn it. You hit me so hard, I want to. When he was wrapping up Liu Lishi's left hand, the black-robed cultivator actually didn't know where to start. However, before the black-robed cultivator could finish his sentence, he heard a cry of pain. He hurriedly lifted his head and saw Ningyu standing in the middle of the arena, staring at Li Minggang with interest. As for Li Minggang, he screamed in pain, his right hand clutching his chest. His face was full of viciousness. Even Li Minggang is not a match for Ningyu. Li Minggang is at the early stage of the primal core realm. Even he is not a match for Ningyu. What's the big deal about the early stage of the primal core realm? In my opinion, even a middle stage primal core realm martial artist might not be able to win against Ningyu. It's hard to say. Li Minggang still has a trump card that he has not used. Once he uses it, I'm afraid even Ningyu will have to give in. Let's wait and see. The surrounding martial artist's words reached Li Mingang's ears, causing his face to completely darken. As a dignified early-stage primal core realm martial artist, he actually could not beat a late-stage true martial realm martial artist. If word of this got out, wouldn't he be laughed at by the martial artists of the Lanqing Kingdom? This time, the three brothers had gone to Wutuo City to set up the arena because they had a bet with a prince of the Lanqing Kingdom that they could fight all the way to the capital of the Dacia Kingdom. If they were to be defeated in Wutuo City, they would definitely lose face. Therefore, in Li Mingang's heart, he could not lose no matter what. Ningyu, I admit that I underestimated you, but... Taking a deep breath, Li Minggang said in a low voice. However, before Li Minggang could finish, Ningyu waved his hand and said plainly, there are many people who underestimate me. Who do you think you are? Ha ha ha, Ningyu, well said. I like your character. Below the arena, Fengzi laughed unscrupulously. That look was as annoying as it could get. As he laughed, Fengzi felt that someone was looking at him and hurriedly started searching. When his gaze met with Ningyu's, his laughter stopped abruptly. He scratched his head awkwardly and chose to keep quiet. Fengzi, look after Xikong Ling for me. His right hand needs nursing. Ningyu's voice sounded out by Fengzi's ear, very weak. Hearing that, Fengzi was startled. Looking left and right, he immediately pulled a long face and walked towards Xikong Ling. Fengzi was already well aware of the injury on Xikong Ling's right hand. Unless the hand was chopped off and replaced with a new palm, otherwise, even if a creation realm martial artist came over, they would not be able to do anything. Madman! Will Ningyu be in danger? Seeing Fengzi walk over to her side, Xiaoyu said hesitantly, I'll take care of Xikong Ling. You'd better go help Ningyu. I'm not called Madman, I'm called Fengzi. Fengzi was somewhat unhappy and said with a straight face, as long as the black-robed martial artist doesn't make a move, Ningyu will not be in danger. Aren't they all the same, all madmen? Muttering to herself, Xiaoyu said, Xikong Ling's right hand's injury is very serious. Should we, Xiaoyu did not continue to say the following words. Chop it. Losing a right hand, I can still hold on. The current Xikong Ling was already drenched in sweat, but he still gritted his teeth and said, Don't. Fengzi hurriedly waved his hand and said, Ningyu said before that he has a way to treat your right hand. Now, we just need to deal with it a little and prevent it from spreading. Leave the rest to Ningyu. No problem, I believe in Ningyu, Xikong Ling said in a deep voice. All right then, I respect you as a man. After this matter is over, I'll acknowledge you as a brother. Fengzi also admired Xikong Ling's optimism very much and directly addressed him as brother. Fengzi's words caused Xikong Ling's forehead to be filled with black lines. Fengzi was also too narcissistic, making it seem as if he had benefited greatly from him acknowledging him as a brother. At the same time, on the stage, Li Mingang's chest heaved up and down. Who do I think I am? Let me tell you, among us three brothers, I'm ranked second. Li Minggang was clearly already on the verge of exploding in rage as he said fiercely. Oh, I understand, Ningyu said lightly. What do you understand? Frowning slightly, Li Minggang asked. Chapter 4:11. Killing Shadow Fist second brother? Damn it, isn't Ningyu too dirty? How is this dirty? Li Minggang is the second brother. He's the second brother. That's right, he's the second brother. Ningyu is right. Sigh, Ningyu is a little unkind. Although Li Minggang is the second brother, there's no need for him to say it out loud. Isn't he offending Li Minggang? So be it. In my opinion, Ningyu isn't afraid of Li Minggang. The discussions of the surrounding cultivators entered Li Mingang's ears, causing his face to darken. Ningyu called him the second brother in front of everyone. He didn't respect him at all. Crack, crack. Li Minggang clenched his fists so hard that they made cracking sounds. He was like an enraged bull, ready to rush out. Ah! However, just as Li Minggang was about to rush out, a scream rang out in the area. Li Minggang was slightly taken aback when he heard this. He quickly looked in the direction of the sound. On the other side of the arena, the black-robed martial artist raised his blade and chopped off Liu Lishi's left hand. Third brother. Li Minggang tapped the ground with his toes and appeared beside Liu Lishi in an instant. Third brother's left hand is severely injured. If we don't chop it off, it might rot. The black-robed martial artist's face was extremely cold as he said in a low voice. As he spoke, the black-robed martial artist carried Liu Lishi and walked out of the arena. However, his voice slowly rang in Li Mingang's ears. Don't hold back. The fourth prince of Lanqing country will be here soon. He's a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute. If you kill him, then so be it. The fourth prince will bear the consequences. Li Mingang's face lit up when he heard the words. Then, his expression turned cold. He slowly raised his head and a cold voice came out of his mouth. Ningyu, your life no longer belongs to you the moment you injured third brother. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Mingang's body charged towards Ningyu. Humph. Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Ningyu coldly snorted. Soon after, with a jerk of his body, Berserk Yuan power exploded around him. After which, it gathered on his wrist and shot towards Li Mingang's head. Robber logic. Li Minggang definitely had robber logic. He only allowed Liu Lishi to injure Xikong Ling and cripple Xikong Ling's right hand, but was he not allowed to cripple Liu Lishi's hands? Bang! After one move, Li Minggang and Ningyu both took 3 steps back before they could stabilize themselves. This time, both sides were evenly matched. What's going on? Li Minggang has become so powerful. Yeah, Ningyu had the upper hand just now. Why are they evenly matched now? Killing Shadow Fist. It's actually killing Shadow Fist. What's killing Shadow Fist? You don't even know killing Shadow Fist. Too outdated. Killing Shadow Fist is a heaven middle grade martial skill. When trained to the extreme, it can display thousands of fist lights. Its power is incomparably powerful. Killing Shadow Fist has a total of 10 punches. Just now, Li Minggang displayed only the first punch. This time, I'm afraid Ningyu is doomed. Hearing the surrounding martial artist's words, Ningyu slightly frowned. Killing Shadow Fist was somewhat similar to Shadowless Fist. However, killing Shadow Fist was of a much higher level. It was a heaven middle grade martial skill. When trained to the extreme, its power was comparable to a heaven upper grade martial skill. Ningyu, just now was just a small test. Next is the real battle. Twisting his neck, Li Minggang quickly formed a seal with both hands. In a split second, 10 fist lights emerged and rushed toward Ningyu at the same time. It's killing Shadow Fist's second punch, 10 fist lights. With Ningyu's strength, he should be able to withstand 10 fist lights, right? Of course, 10 fist lights can't defeat Ningyu. Swoosh. Ningyu's performance did not disappoint the crowd. Absolute dust. He bellowed and flicked his wrist, sending out a palm print. Although the absolute dust palm print was only the Netherworld Samsara palm's first move, its power was not weak. When it came into contact with Li Mingang's 10 fistlights, the fistlights were dispersed. Killing Shadow Fist's third punch. The 10 fistlights were dispersed by Ningyu's palm print, but Li Minggang did not take it to heart. Instead, he immediately executed the killing Shadow Fist's third punch. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The killing Shadow Fist's third punch had a total of 50 fist lights. Its power was several times stronger than the second punch. Solitary name. Facing the 50 fist lights, Ningyu waved his palm and executed the Netherworld Samsara Palm's second move, Solitary Name Palm Print. Swoosh. As expected, the 50 fist lights that Li Minggang executed were dispersed in an instant. Damn it. Li Minggang cursed under his breath as dozens of fist lights were dispersed. He then executed the killing Shadow Fist's fourth and fifth punch. The killing Shadow Fist's fourth punch contained 100 fist lights. The fifth punch contained 200 fist lights. A total of 300 fist lights charged towards Ningyu without any regard for their lives. Serene Fiend. Ningyu narrowed his eyes as he looked at the 300 fist lights that were approaching him. He let out a low roar and a huge palm print separated from his palm. Netherworld Samsara Palm's third move, Serene Fiend Palm Print. TSK TSK. The instant Li Minggang's 300 fist lights came into contact with the Serene Fiend Palm Print, 100 of them were dispersed. Following that, the remaining 200 fist lights were dispersed as well. What rank of martial skill did Ningyu execute? Why is it so powerful? I'm also curious. Li Minggang executed a mid-grade heaven-ranked martial skill. Could it be that Ningyu executed a high-grade heaven-ranked martial skill? It's highly possible. Ningyu is a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute. It's reasonable for Danwu College to reward him with 1 or 2 high-grade heaven-ranked martial skills. Cool, very cool. Ningyu should have arrived earlier. If he did, the first few martial artists wouldn't have their cultivation crippled. Ningyu withstood Li Minggang's attacks, which immediately excited the martial artists around the ring. Before Ningyu appeared, they had been ridiculed by Li Minggang and the others. Now that it was their turn to ridicule Li Minggang and the others, they naturally wouldn't show any mercy. Ningyu, cripple Li Minggang's cultivation. A true martial realm martial artist shouted. Yes, cripple Li Minggang's cultivation. Let him pay with his blood. We support you. Cripple Li Minggang, this trash. Get him out of the Great Xia Kingdom, get out of Wutuo City. The words of this true martial realm martial artist attracted waves of echoes from the surrounding martial artists. After being suppressed for so long, they finally had the chance to erupt. They definitely wouldn't miss it. Ningyu, the first 5 Shadow Slaughter Fist are just superficial. They don't have much power. At this time, Li Minggang calmed down and wasn't affected by the words of the surrounding martial artists. Instead, the corner of his mouth rose, revealing a trace of an evil smile. Next, I'll let you see. Chapter 412. Unable to withstand a blow heaven-killing fist. Li Minggang has mastered the heaven-killing fist. That's just too unbelievable. The heaven-killing fist is the 10th form of the shadow-killing fist. It is extremely powerful. I wonder how powerful the heaven-killing fist will be in Li Minggang's hands. As soon as Li Minggang finished his sentence, the warriors below the ring began to discuss. The shadow-killing fist was a mid-grade heaven-level technique. When mastered, its power was comparable to an upper-grade heaven-level technique. It was obvious that Li Minggang had mastered the shadow-killing fist to the extreme. The heaven-killing fist, Ningyu's expression was solemn. Through the previous few moves, he had roughly estimated Li Minggang's true strength. Without using his trump card, Li Minggang was no match for him. However, once Li Minggang had a powerful trump card, the outcome would become confusing. After all, Li Minggang was an early-stage primal core warrior. In the Lanqing Kingdom, he was one of the top geniuses. The heaven-killing fist was obviously Li Minggang's trump card. Ningyu, it's not too late to surrender. Seeing Ningyu's solemn expression, the corner of Li Minggang's mouth curled up and he sneered, "As long as you admit defeat, I can spare your worthless life and only cripple your hands." But, speaking up to here, Li Minggang paused slightly, pointed at Sikong Ling below the ring, and said with a sinister smile, "His life, I'm taking it for sure. There are idiots every day, but there are a lot this year." Shrugging, Ningyu did not comment on Li Minggang's words. "You're asking for it." Hearing Ningyu's words, Li Minggang's eyes turned cold and he immediately jumped up. On his fist, a violent wave of energy appeared. Moreover, along with the passage of time, the wisp of origin energy grew more and more numerous. In the end, it even caused Ningyu's heart to palpitate. "Ningyu, if you don't surrender, you will have to face the wrath of the heaven-killing fist." A cold voice came out of Li Minggang's mouth. Immediately, the temperature of the ring plummeted to freezing point. Rumble. Li Minggang quickly pushed out with his right hand. Suddenly, a shocking fist light appeared and attacked Ningyu at an astonishing speed. Kai Kai. The fist radiance was so fast that it even created friction with the air, producing a sizzling sound. The heaven-killing fist was different from the previous punches. Not only was it powerful, but there was only one fist light. Dark Tyrant Palm. Facing the powerful heaven-killing fist, Ningyu did not dare to be negligent. He quickly channeled the essence in his sea of consciousness into his palm. As Ningyu shouted, a palm imprint that wasn't any weaker than the heaven-killing fist separated from Ningyu's palm and collided with the heaven-killing fist. Pa. One punch, one palm, both were almost tangible, and there was not much difference between them and a physical palm print. Hence, when the two collided, a muffled sound rang out. Immediately, Ningyu and Li Minggang both took a few steps back. This time, both of them retreated to the edge of the arena. Evenly matched. They are evenly matched again. Today's battle will be interesting to watch. I wonder who will win in the end. Who else can it be? Ningyu will definitely win. I don't think so. The two of them are evenly matched. It is hard to tell who will win in the end. Don't forget, besides Li Minggang, there is still the black-robed warrior. He is the most terrifying. Below the arena, the black-robed warrior first bandaged Liu Lishi's hands, then turned his gaze to the arena. The black-robed warrior knew very well that Li Minggang was not weak. When he was at the peak of the true martial realm, he had defeated a mid-primal core warrior. Now that he had advanced to the early primal core stage, his strength must have increased. In the eyes of the black-robed warrior, as long as there were no accidents, Li Minggang would definitely win. Fart. Suddenly, the sound of a mouthful of fresh blood rang out in the arena, attracting everyone's attention. What? How is this possible? This is 2F** Ked up. How did he do it? I don't know. This speed is too abnormal. Even a peak primal core warrior might not be able to be this fast. The situation in the arena had indeed caused the warriors in the area to gape slightly, their faces full of confusion. They had never thought that things would develop in such a dramatic way. Originally, they thought that this battle would last for a long time. Who would have thought that in just a few minutes, the battle would be over? Hihi, the wrath of the heaven-slaying fist is only SOSO. Slowly withdrawing his feet from Li Minggang's chest, Ningyu took a few steps back and said with a faint smile, I seem to have heard someone say that if I don't admit defeat, he will cripple my hands. Ningyu stretched out his hands and continued, my hands are right here. If you have the ability, you can come over and cripple them. You. Fart. Being mocked by Ningyu, Li Minggang raised his right hand and pointed at Ningyu. He wanted to say something, but opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. Li Minggang was very angry now. He was so angry that he wanted to start a massacre in Wu Tuo City. Just now, when he was not paying attention, Ningyu came to his side and then kicked him in the chest. If he had not reacted in time, he would have been kicked off the arena. Even so, he was seriously injured. His internal organs felt like there was a ball of fire burning, causing him to be unable to continue attacking. Ningyu, cripple Li Minggang's hands and then cripple his cultivation. Crippling his cultivation and hands is too easy for Li Minggang. In my opinion, Li Minggang should also be crippled and let him crawl back to Lanqing country. If he crawls, isn't he no different from a toad? Ha ha ha. Originally, Li Minggang felt a ball of fire burning in his chest. Now, hearing the mocking words of the warriors around him, he spat out another mouthful of blood. Fart. After spitting out the blood, Li Minggang's face revealed an extremely gloomy expression. He had lost all face. This time, he had really lost all his face. Not only had he lost to the hands of the late-stage true martial realm Ningyu, but he had also been ridiculed by the Wuta city warriors. This was unbearable. Li Minggang, I'm very sorry. Crippling your cultivation and limbs was the will of the Wuta city warriors. I had no other choice. Ningyu shrugged and walked towards Li Minggang step by step. Dong. Dong. Ningyu walked very slowly. Every step he took seemed to be stepping on Li Minggang's body, causing Li Minggang's expression to become more and more unsightly. Big brother. Quickly go and save second brother. Liu Lishi saw Ningyu's actions and hurriedly said. No hurry, wait a little longer. I can feel that there are warriors rushing over here. Taking a deep breath, the black-robed warrior stood on the spot and did not move. Big brother, if you don't make a move now, it will be too late. Liu Lishi naturally could not feel the warriors rushing over here as he continued to shout. Swoosh. At this moment, a figure swept out from the entrance of the square and appeared in the sky above the arena in an instant. This figure floated above the arena, his gaze sweeping across the crowd of warriors. Chapter 413. Fengzi's arrogance. Ningyu, this is Wutuo City. How dare you open an arena and provoke the dignity of the imperial family? After seeing Ningyu, the martial artist above the arena had a gloomy expression and berated, I advise you to surrender, otherwise Danwu College will not be able to protect you. Who is this martial artist? Why is he so arrogant? Arrogant? He has the right to be arrogant. To tell you the truth, he is the first prince. First prince. Even the first prince can't frame Ningyu. You should know that this arena is not bad. Before the last martial artist finished speaking, his expression changed greatly. He hurriedly retreated, wanting to avoid the cold light that was coming towards him. However, his cultivation was only at the middle stage of the true martial realm, so his speed was obviously much slower than the cold light. Poochie. In the next moment, the cold light hit the martial artist's chest. The sweet taste of blood came from his throat, causing him to spit out a mouthful of dark red blood, and his entire body was on the verge of collapse. Humph. Where did this Tom, Dick, and Harry come from? How dare you talk back when I'm speaking? With a cold snort, the first prince above the arena said angrily, Fine, I haven't fought for a long time, and many people have forgotten about me. Today, I'll start with you. Immediately, the first prince's eyes turned cold, and his figure rushed out. In the blink of an eye, the first prince appeared next to the middle stage true martial realm martial artist, and his right hand carried a violent fluctuation of origin energy as it fiercely smashed towards the middle stage true martial realm martial artist's chest. The first prince's attack was powerful and heavy. Not to mention a middle stage true martial realm martial artist, even a late stage true martial realm martial artist might not be able to withstand it. First prince, I was wrong. Looking at the fist that was approaching him, the middle stage true martial realm martial artist opened his mouth slightly and hurriedly begged for mercy. Bang! However, before the middle stage true martial realm martial artist could finish his words, his eyes widened, and his face was filled with disbelief. Before he knew it, a thin figure had appeared in front of him. This thin figure raised his palm and blocked the first prince's fatal attack for him. Ningyu retracted his palm and said indifferently, If you have anything to say, just say it. There's no need to resort to violence. Having been easily blocked by Ningyu, the first prince felt his face burning. At the same time, he was extremely shocked. Although he did not use his full strength in that move, he still used 60% of his strength. However, Ningyu easily blocked it. Didn't that mean that Ningyu's strength had increased a lot compared to when he was in the capital? At the thought of this, the first prince's expression darkened completely. He had originally thought that after advancing to the early primal core stage, he would be able to easily defeat Ningyu, but now it seemed that he had been overthinking things. Taking a deep breath, the first prince said coldly, Let's not talk about that piece of trash for now. Let's talk about your arrogant behavior. Oh! First prince, why don't you tell me about my arrogant behavior? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and shrugged his shoulders. Humph! I've already said that you set up an arena in Wu Tuo City and openly challenged the dignity of the royal family. This crime is punishable by death, the first prince said coldly. As he spoke, the first prince's gaze moved slowly around and continued, whoever dares to speak up for Ningyu will be charged the same. Swoosh. This time, no one dared to speak up for Ningyu. If the charges were the same, didn't that mean that whoever spoke up for Ningyu would also have their 9 generations executed? Most of the people around were here to watch the show. Once their own safety was involved, what righteousness? To hell with it. You're the first prince. At this moment, a disdainful voice sounded. Swoosh. Hearing this voice, the surrounding martial artists shifted their gazes away and looked in the direction of the voice. It's the man who came with Ningyu. Who is he? Why does he dare to speak up for Ningyu? Not sure. I've been in Wu Tuo City for so many years and have never seen him before. No matter what, someone who dares to speak up for Ningyu at this time definitely has a backer or formidable strength himself. The words that came from the surrounding martial artists clearly did not affect Fengzi. Only to see him twist his neck and slowly walk over to Ningyu's side. After a long while, Fengzi came to Ningyu's side and stared at the first prince with interest. The corners of his mouth curled up as he said indifferently, the Great Xia Kingdom is considered one of the top empires in the Mystic Moon continent. To think that the first prince of an empire is only at the early stage of primal core. TSK, with this cultivation, the Great Xia Kingdom will probably bleed again in the next imperial family contest. Courting death. Being mocked by Fengzi in front of so many people, the first prince's face turned livid. He gave a low shout and immediately leaped up, wanting to teach Fengzi a lesson. What? Making a move just because of a disagreement? Seeing the first prince's action, Fengzi yelled out, "Murder! The first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom is murdering someone. It doesn't matter if you are from the Great Xia Kingdom, the Lanqing Kingdom, or the Autumn Wind Kingdom. Come over and take a look. The dignified first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom is about to kill someone." Fengzi's voice contained violent essence force ripples, which nearly caused all the martial artists in Wu Tuo City to hear it clearly. This shout instantly caused the originally quiet Wu Tuo City to burst into an uproar. Damn! Who is barking like a dog? Can't you let me sleep? It doesn't seem like a dog barking. It seems to be related to the first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom. Quickly go to Wu Tuo City's plaza. The voice is coming from there. Yes, quickly go and take a look. I heard that the prodigy martial artists of Wu Tuo City have set up an arena there. The originally quiet Wu Tuo City was bustling again because of Fengzi's shout. Many martial artists left their residences and rushed towards the plaza. This is too shameless. The corner of Ningyu's mouth involuntarily twitched a few times. He took a small step back and distanced himself from Fengzi. But Fengzi's method was indeed effective. The first prince stood where he was, his face livid. He did not know whether to make a move or not. He fell into a dilemma. If he were to make a move and kill Fengzi, then it would be a solid crime of killing the innocent. It would be extremely disadvantageous to his future fight for the position of crown prince. If he did not make a move, in another few minutes, there would definitely be a large number of martial artists surging over. At that time, it would be very difficult for him to step down. Big brother, isn't this first prince too weak? If it were a prince of the Lanqing Kingdom, he would have long started a massacre. Below the arena, Liu Lishi said doubtfully. In the Lanqing Kingdom, if anyone dared to speak to the first prince like that, that was courting death. There was once a primordial core stage martial artist who provoked the fourth prince's prestige. The fourth prince did not say a word and directly beheaded him. Later, it was found out that the primordial core stage martial artist who was beheaded by the fourth prince was the third young master of a first-rate force in the Lanqing Kingdom. In the end, under the powerful pressure of the imperial family, this matter was left unsettled. Chapter 414. Battle Big Brother. We can stay out of the grudge between Ningyu and the first prince, but second brother is still in the arena, Liu Lishi said anxiously as he pointed at Li Minggang. This is troublesome. Hearing Liu Lishi's words, The black-robed cultivator fell into deep thought. With Li Minggang's current condition, it would be very difficult for him to walk down the stage by himself. He needed help. And at this critical juncture, it was not appropriate for him to go up. In the worst-case scenario, the first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom and Ningyu might surround and annihilate him. After all, he was the one who had set up this arena. By doing this, the first prince could redeem his image. After thinking for a while, the black-robed cultivator said, "Let's wait and see first. If it does not work, I will go up and receive Li Minggang. That's the only way." Liu Lishi sighed. At the same time, the first prince, who was not far away, was breathing heavily. He was on the verge of exploding with rage. However, he forcefully suppressed the rage in his heart and said in a deep voice, "Ningyu, I challenge you now. Do you dare to accept?" The first prince's words immediately caused a huge commotion in the surroundings. The first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom actually wanted to challenge Ningyu? This news was too explosive. The Imperial Clan and Danwu College were the two superpowers in the Great Xia Kingdom. Ningyu was a core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College, while the first prince was a top genius of the imperial family. Although this battle was not the most terrifying, it would definitely attract the most attention. "You want to challenge me?" Ningyu frowned slightly at the first prince's challenge and said calmly, "Are you qualified?" Whoosh! Ningyu's undisguised ridicule immediately silenced the entire area. This kind of silence was extremely frightening. Even the sound of breathing could be heard clearly. "You're saying that I'm not qualified?" After a short moment of silence, the first prince pointed at his nose, his face filled with disbelief. "Hey, are your ears okay?" Right at this moment, Fengzi yelled out before he sighed, "Sigh, I didn't expect the dignified first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom to actually be deaf. Truly lamentable." Courting death. After being ridiculed by Fengzi again and again, the eldest imperial prince finally could not take it anymore. In the next moment, he leaped up, and his body transformed into an afterimage as he charged towards Fengzi. "Sigh, I didn't want to make a move, but you forced me to make a move." Fengzi clearly did not think much of the eldest prince. Seeing that the eldest prince was about to reach him, he sighed and had no intention of attacking. "Ningyu, don't you think that the eldest prince is a fool?" Not only did Fengzi not attack, he even started chatting with Ningyu. "Let me give you a word of advice. The first prince is very powerful. If you don't use your trump card, you'll only be able to fight him to a draw at most. You might even lose to him." After saying these words, Ningyu's figure flashed and directly arrived at Xikong Ling and Xiao Yu's side. Ningyu had exchanged blows with the eldest imperial prince and Fengzi before, so he could naturally determine who was stronger and who was weaker. Fengzi had a trump card, and so did the eldest imperial prince. Under the premise that neither side used their trump cards, they were evenly matched, and the eldest imperial prince was even slightly stronger. After all, he was more familiar with Fengzi, so Ningyu spoke up to remind him. As for whether he listened or not, it had nothing to do with him. "F***CK, why didn't you say so earlier?" Fengzi could not help but swear. Not daring to be negligent, he immediately channeled essence into his wrist and unavoidably collided with the eldest imperial prince's fist. Bang! When the two fists collided, Fengzi only felt an enormous force coming from his fist, causing him to retreat several steps before stabilizing his figure. On the other hand, the eldest imperial prince retreated 3 steps before stopping. "You dare to be arrogant with such little ability? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror?" After gaining the upper hand in one blow, the eldest imperial prince mocked back. "Good, very good, you've completely infuriated me." Clenching his fists tightly, Fengzi's expression was gloomy. If not for Ningyu's reminder, he would probably be in a worse state than he was now. He did not expect that the eldest imperial prince, who was only at the early primal core stage, would be so powerful. "Fight." As the word fight came out of his mouth, Fengzi directly leaped onto the arena. The meaning was self-evident. Let's fight, who's afraid of who? Having lost face in front of Fengzi, the eldest imperial prince must get it back. With a leap, he also jumped onto the arena. Where did this trash come from? Hurry up and scram off the arena. After jumping onto the arena, Fengzi looked at Li Minggang, who was at the edge of the arena, and kicked him off the arena. Swoosh! Before Li Minggang landed on the ground, the black-robed martial artist dashed out and caught him firmly. This is too much, really too much, Liu Lishi said furiously. Big brother, this Fengzi is too much, in my opinion, shut up. Before Liu Lishi could finish his sentence, the black-robed martial artist scolded, from now on, don't speak without my permission. Ah! Liu Lishi was a little dumbfounded, but he still tactfully shut his mouth. Knowing how to endure, not simple. Seeing the black-robed martial artist's behavior, Ningyu could not help but look up to him. Actually, Fengzi kicking Li Minggang off the arena was entirely his idea, in order to test the black-robed martial artist. The black-robed martial artist was also a genius of the Lanqing country, and from how Liu Lishi addressed him, he knew that he was big brother. Liu Lishi and Li Minggang were not weak, so it could be seen that the black-robed martial artist's strength was definitely not weak. Strength was not scary, knowing how to endure was not scary, what was scary was being able to endure and having great strength. The black-robed martial artist was obviously the latter. Ningyu, is Fengzi a match for the eldest imperial prince? Looking at the two martial artists on the arena, Xikong Ling hurriedly asked. Fengzi tended to Xikong Ling's hands, so Xikong Ling was naturally more concerned about Fengzi's safety. Don't worry, it's almost impossible for the eldest imperial prince to defeat Fengzi in a short period of time. Ningyu said, if Fengzi were to use his trump card, the outcome of the battle would be uncertain. This lunatic, no, where did Fengzi come from? Xiao Yu asked doubtfully. I'm not sure about the specifics, I met him outside of Wu Tuo City. Shaking his head, Ningyu said, there's one thing I can be sure of, Fengzi is not from the Great Xia country. Not from the Great Xia country? Slightly startled, Xiao Yu continued, why would he fight with the eldest imperial prince? Don't ask about this for now. As for where he came from, I already have a guess in my heart. Let's wait and see for now. Ningyu said. Rumble. Suddenly, there was a loud explosion. Ningyu hurriedly looked towards the source of the sound, only to see that Fengzi and the eldest imperial prince were already fighting on the arena. Under the premise that neither of them used their trump cards, Fengzi and the eldest imperial prince were evenly matched, and it would be difficult to determine the victor in a short period of time. Therefore, Ningyu only watched for a while before shifting his gaze away and casually observing. Swoosh. However, just as Ningyu's gaze shifted to the edge of the plaza, it stopped. Chapter 4:15. Wind chasing Parmham? He discovered me. At the edge of the square, an old man raised his eyebrows when he felt Ningyu's gaze on him for a second, feeling slightly surprised. This old man was none other than the expert who had rushed over from Ivory City with the first prince, Mo Xing. It shouldn't be possible. My concealment technique is also one of the best in the imperial family. Other than those few old monsters, very few people can discover me. Soon, Mo Xing shook his head and muttered, Ningyu is a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute. I'm afraid Danwu College will send someone to Wu Tuo City. I just don't know who they will send this time. Then, Mo Xing looked at the first prince and Fengzi who were fighting in the arena. Among the many princes, the first prince was the strongest, other than two who were especially good at enduring. In Mo Xing's opinion, it was only a matter of time before the first prince won. However, Mo Xing still had some doubts. He was doubtful about Fengzi's identity. The cultivation technique that Fengzi displayed is somewhat similar to a certain cultivation technique of the Lanqing nation. Mo Xing frowned and said, if I'm not wrong, Fengzi should be from the Lanqing nation. That black-robed martial artist is not weak either. He can even be compared to the first prince. Looking at the black-robed martial artist next to Liu Lishi, Mo Xing said in a deep voice, since the martial artists of the Lanqing nation dared to come to the Daxia nation and behave atrociously, it seems that they already know about the Corpsian sect's actions. Bang. At the same time, on the arena, Fengzi and the first prince separated as soon as they clashed, standing on opposite sides of the arena. Fengzi panted heavily, his expression gloomy and uncertain. Ningyu was right. The first prince was indeed very strong. If he did not use his trump card, he would definitely not be a match for the first prince. However, Fengzi didn't want to use his trump card now. Once he used his trump card, many people would know his identity, and this was obviously not what he wanted. Hehe, your strength is only this little. I really don't know where you get the courage to be so arrogant. The first prince shrugged and said with a faint smile. You're not much better either. Didn't you also fail to defeat me? Fengzi said with a cold snort. You've got a sharp tongue. I was just testing my strength. If you don't admit defeat, I won't let you see tomorrow's sun, the first prince said gloomily. You want me to not see the sun tomorrow? Since that's the case, I'll make you unable to see the moon tonight, Fengzi said coldly, not showing any weakness at all. Then let's fight. Taking a deep breath, the eldest prince dashed out again to fight Fengzi. Compared to the previous battle, this time, the first prince had clearly used his trump card, causing Fengzi to be unable to defend himself. What's going on? Just now, Fengzi was still able to fight to a draw with the first prince. Why is he suddenly at a disadvantage? You don't even know that. Look at the first prince's palm technique. Palm technique? What palm technique is that? Hearing this, the surrounding cultivators all looked at the first prince. On the arena, the first prince's palm swayed back and forth. In an instant, his palm became illusory. Wind-chasing palm. It's actually the wind-chasing palm. What's the wind-chasing palm? The wind-chasing palm is the imperial family's unique palm technique, a high-grade heaven-rank martial technique. Its power is incomparably powerful. That's right, the wind-chasing palm's speed is extremely fast until it dazzles people's eyes. Swoosh. Below the arena, when Sikong Ling saw the first prince execute the wind-chasing palm, his expression darkened with a swoosh. As the young master of the black market, he had naturally witnessed the power of the wind-chasing palm before. The wind-chasing palm had a total of 3 forms. The first form could execute 5 illusory palm prints, the second form could execute 10, and the third form could execute 20. The most crucial thing was that among these palm prints, there was only one with the strongest strength, which was the first prince's intrinsic palm print. The power of the remaining palm prints was much weaker. Wind-chasing palm. Looks like I have to execute my trump card. Facing the first prince's hands that were constantly changing, Fengzi's expression became solemn. Fengzi, with the first prince's strength, he can only execute the second form of the wind-chasing palm, which is 10 illusory palm prints. Suddenly, a voice sounded by Fengzi's ear, causing Fengzi to be slightly startled. Immediately, he wanted to turn his head to look. Don't look, continue fighting with the first prince. I'll tell you which palm print is his intrinsic palm print. At that time, you just have to focus on attacking and don't care about anything else. Ningyu said again, pay attention to my words. Fengzi's heart thumped, and he could not help but be somewhat dazed. The wind-chasing palm was a high-grade heaven-rank martial technique. Even he did not dare say that he could be 100% sure which palm print was the intrinsic palm print. How did Ningyu know? Haha, it's not good to be distracted right now. Just at this moment, the first prince smiled slightly and suddenly pushed both his hands out. In a split second, 5 palm prints rushed out, rumbling towards Fengzi with an extremely shocking speed. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, Fengzi hurriedly retreated. At the same time, violent Yuan Qi appeared on his palm, wanting to use brute force to repel the 5 palm prints in front of him. Fengzi, the palm print on the left is real, the rest are all illusions. At the critical moment, Ningyu's words sounded by Fengzi's ear. Hearing that, Fengzi gritted his teeth and used all the strength in his body to smash towards the palm print on the left. Haha, the wind-chasing palm has 5 illusory palm prints, unless the strength of your soul reaches. What? After displaying the first form of the wind-chasing palm, the first prince smiled slightly. Just as he was about to speak, his expression changed drastically. Because he realized that Fengzi's fist was smashing towards the leftmost palm print. Crack! The fist and palm print came into contact, and in almost an instant, the palm print shattered. At the same time, Fengzi continued to attack, his right hand smashing straight towards him. Not good. The first prince's heart trembled, and he hurriedly retreated. He had never thought that Fengzi could discover which palm print was real. Could it be that Fengzi's soul strength had reached grade 6? Or grade 7? Mo Xing said before that a martial artist who could discover the true palm print of the wind-chasing palm, the soul strength would at least be grade 6. No matter how he looked at it, Fengzi's soul strength had not reached grade 6. At most, it was only grade 5 beginner stage. However, Fengzi could clearly determine which was the real palm print. Could it be that he had guessed it? Thinking up to here, the first prince retreated as his hands once again changed forms. This time, the first prince decided to display the second form of the wind-chasing palm. Following the first prince's hands constantly changing forms, in the next instant, 10 palm prints shot out in front of him in a row, appearing in front of Fengzi in an instant. Retreat. Seeing the 10 illusory palm prints attacking towards him, Fengzi's first thought was to retreat quickly. However, Fengzi had just retreated 3 steps when Ningyu's voice sounded by his ear once again. Fengzi, the palm print in the middle is the real one. Chapter 4:16. Leaving the arena, it's alright. The other 9 palm prints can't do anything to me. Taking a deep breath, Fengzi took a step forward and advanced instead of retreating. Wave-splitting palm. The next moment, his hands quickly formed several seals, and his aura rose once again, approaching the mid-primal core stage. Fengzi's original cultivation was the same as the first prince's, early primal core stage. After his aura rose, he actually showed signs of breaking through to the mid-primal core stage. The moment his palms changed, a huge palm print descended from the sky. As Fengzi's hands pressed down, this huge palm print blasted towards the first prince. Buzz. The moment the palm print landed, the entire space above the arena seemed to tremble, and a faint buzzing sound suddenly rang out. Wave-splitting palm. It's actually the wave-splitting palm. The wave-splitting palm is also a high heaven-level martial arts technique. It's incomparably powerful, not any weaker than the first prince's wind-chasing palm. Who exactly is this Fengzi? How can he even use a martial arts technique like the wave-splitting palm? Do you even need to ask? He must be the young master of some hidden sect or family, otherwise it's impossible for him to have a high heaven-level martial arts technique. That's right. I just don't know who will win between Fengzi and the first prince. The first prince's wind-chasing palm has a total of 10 palm prints. The first prince smiled slightly at the surrounding warriors' discussion, not taking it to heart. Although the wave-splitting palm was also a high heaven-level martial arts technique, it was slightly weaker than his wind-chasing palm. Fengzi, if this is all you've got, then I'm sorry, today you're destined to drink. What? However, before the first prince could finish his sentence, his eyes widened, and his face was filled with confusion. Fengzi's wave-splitting palm completely ignored the few wind-chasing palm prints in front of it, and instead went straight for the wind-chasing palm in the middle. Crack! The 2 palms collided, and the result was obvious. Swoosh! After dispersing the first prince's real palm print, Fengzi did not stop and immediately retreated. Although he said that the other 9 palm prints could not do anything to him, Fengzi was very clear that without using his trump card, he could not possibly block the other 9 palm print. This is impossible. Seeing that the real palm imprint had been shattered, the first prince stood rooted to the ground in a daze. He had forgotten to control the remaining 9 palm imprints to attack Fengzi. The first move of the wind-chasing palm had been dispersed by Fengzi, but the first imperial prince did not think much of it, thinking that Fengzi had made a wild guess. However, the real palm imprint of the second form of the wind-chasing palm was once again dispersed by Fengzi. The eldest prince was a little confused. Now, he could basically conclude that Fengzi was not making a wild guess. Instead, he really did know which palm imprint was the real one. Ningyu, it's all thanks to you this time. I, Fengzi, owe you a favor. As long as you have a use for me. Fengzi hurriedly transmitted his voice to Ningyu after stabilizing himself. Shut up, someone has noticed us. However, before Fengzi could finish his sentence, Ningyu shouted in a low voice. Fengzi was a little stunned when he heard Ningyu's words, but he still chose to keep his mouth shut. Ningyu's perception was very strong. Since he said that someone had noticed them, it was most likely true. Could I have guessed wrong? At the same time, at the edge of the square, Moshing frowned as his perception swept across Ningyu's body unscrupulously. After a while, Moshing withdrew his perception unwillingly. There is indeed something wrong with Fengzi. In the last imperial battle, someone from the Lanqing nation used the wave-splitting palm. Could Fengzi be a member of the Lanqing nation's imperial family? Since he could not find any clues on Ningyu, Moshing simply shifted his attention to Fengzi, hoping to find some clues. However, after observing for a while, Moshing's face was full of disappointment, and he even began to doubt his own detection technique. This was because he still could not find anything on Fengzi. First Prince, we can't delay the matter in Ivory City any longer. We have to rush back to the capital as soon as possible and report the ins and outs of the matter to the Emperor. After feeling vexed, Moshing sent a message to the First Prince. Originally, Moshing did not approve of the eldest imperial prince coming to Wu Ta City. In his opinion, the arena set up by the three young geniuses of the Lanqing nation was nothing, and there was no need for him to care about it. Who would have thought that the eldest imperial prince would insist on coming? He had no choice but to follow. When he arrived, he realized that the reason the eldest imperial prince wanted to come to Wu Ta City was definitely because of Ningyu. Senior Moshing, the matter in Ivory City is related to Ningyu. In my opinion, we should bring him back to the capital, the eldest imperial prince said fiercely. Originally, the eldest imperial prince wanted to kill Fengzi first, then defeat Ningyu, and bring Ningyu back to the capital. Unexpectedly, Fengzi was so powerful that he had completely disrupted his plan. According to his guess, he would not be able to gain any advantage if the battle continued. Therefore, when he heard Moshing's words, he was happy to have a way out. Shaking his head, Moshing said, "It's not realistic to even bring Ningyu back to the country. I can feel that an old monster from Danwu College is nearby, and his strength is no weaker than mine." Someone from Danwu College also came? Hearing this, the eldest imperial prince was slightly startled, and immediately said, "Ningyu is related to the matter in Ivory City. Even if someone from Danwu College comes, we can still bring him back to the capital, right? Eldest imperial prince, you think this matter is too simple. Ningyu is a core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College. The people from Danwu College will definitely protect him," Moshing said in a deep voice. "Besides, Ningyu has not colluded with the martial artists of the Corpsian sect. Even if we bring him back to the capital, we won't be able to find anything. On the contrary, we will offend Danwu College. The battle for the royal family is coming soon. It is extremely disadvantageous for us to offend Danwu College at this juncture. In the previous battles for the royal family, Danwu College would send powerhouses to follow us, in order to support us, so that our high-end combat power is not weaker than the other empires. With the passing of the older generation of powerhouses, the high-end combat power of the royal family is declining year by year. Isn't there still the old ancestor?" The eldest imperial prince asked doubtfully. "The old ancestor has to guard the capital. Without him, the great Xia kingdom would have changed hands long ago." Moshing continued, "Listen to me, return to the capital immediately. As for the three little geniuses of the Lanqing kingdom, leave them to Ningyu." The eldest imperial prince stood on the ring with a gloomy expression. In the next moment, he glared at Fengzi fiercely and jumped off the ring. What is the eldest imperial prince doing? I don't know. He jumped off the ring on his own. Is he admitting defeat? Impossible. Although Fengzi blocked the second style of the wind-chasing palm, the eldest imperial prince still hasn't displayed the third style of the wind-chasing palm. The eldest imperial prince taking the initiative to leave the ring obviously caused a great uproar in the surroundings. Many of the martial artists discussed animatedly, their words filled with shock. "Look! The eldest imperial prince is walking towards Ningyu." Suddenly, someone shouted loudly, pulling everyone's thoughts back to reality. Chapter 417. Backing First Prince. What is he going to do? I'm not sure. Is he going to challenge Ning Yu again? That's not possible. After all, the outcome of his battle with Fengzi has not been decided yet. It would be unreasonable for him to challenge Ning Yu now. That's right. When the first prince wanted to challenge Ning Yu for the first time, Ning Yu said that the first prince was not qualified. Compared to the battle between Fengzi and the first prince, I would rather see the battle between Ning Yu and the first prince. The battle between the two geniuses of the great Xia kingdom is enough to make one's blood boil. Let's wait and see. Seeing the first prince walk towards Ning Yu, no one said anything about him admitting defeat or saying that he was not a match for Fengzi. Instead, the focus of everyone's discussion was on the first prince and Ning Yu. Originally, the martial artist on the stage was not Fengzi, but Ning Yu. Who would have thought that Fengzi would suddenly appear and exchange a few moves with the first prince? Now that the first prince was going to clash with Ning Yu, everyone was pleasantly surprised. The crowd's mentality was to watch a good show. First prince, our duel is not over yet. Where are you going? At this moment, Fengzi, who was on the stage, shouted. His figure flashed and stood in front of the first prince. Fengzi raised his eyebrows and revealed a smile. The first prince of the great Xia kingdom is not afraid of me, right? If you are afraid, tell me earlier. I will be merciful. Get out of the way, the first prince said indifferently without any joy or sorrow. Get out of the way. Fengzi's lips curled up. What if I don't? Fengzi, don't block the first prince's path. Let him come over, Ning Yu said as he took a step forward. Hearing Ning Yu's words, Fengzi was a little embarrassed. However, he still chose to give in after scratching his head. Before he gave in, Fengzi did not forget to glare at the first prince. Ning Yu, I know what happened in Ivory City is related to you. Coming up to Ning Yu, the great prince said in a low voice, return to the capital with me. I will plead on your behalf before father. Ha ha ha. Ning Yu looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. He looked at the first prince as if he was looking at a fool and sneered, what did I do in Ivory City? Ask you to plead for me in front of the emperor? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror to see if you're good enough? Whoosh. When Ning Yu said this, the surrounding cultivators all held their breaths, not even daring to breathe loudly. Ning Yu was getting more and more arrogant. Last time, he said that the first prince was not qualified to challenge him. This time, he was even more outrageous. He actually wanted the first prince to pee and look at himself in the mirror. Any normal person would not be able to endure it. Naturally, the first prince could not stand it either. The first prince's chest was heaving up and down, and he said coldly, you will pay for what you said today. Don't talk nonsense with me here. If you know what's good for you, get out of here. Don't get in my way. Ning Yu waved his hand and said arrogantly, you. The first prince was so angry that his face turned green. Ning Yu did not give him any face at all, which made him very angry. After a short period of anger, the first prince regained his composure and said to Ning Yu in a low voice, you destroyed my child mother rings. I will make you pay for it. Are you talking to me? Ning Yu looked around, then pointed at his nose and said, why did you use telepathy? Isn't it just the child mother rings? Why can't you let everyone know about it? What do you mean? What does Ning Yu mean? Are you stupid or have you heard wrong? It is obvious that the first prince does not want us to hear something, so he used telepathy. Telepathy? What is the child mother rings? I heard someone say that the child mother rings are upper heaven level magic treasures. They are extremely powerful. The words of the surrounding ancient martial art practitioners reached the first prince's ears, causing his expression to turn even more grim. Crack. Clenching his fists, the first prince said coldly, Ning Yu, I will ask you one last time. Are you coming back to the capital with me? Shrugging, Ning Yu did not comment. Good, very good. You will regret what you did today. At this moment, the first prince was surprisingly calm. He was terrifyingly calm. Regret? Ning Yu asked. Hehe, Tianqian City is a good place. The Ning family in Tianqian City is a good family, the first prince said with a smile. Swoosh. Hearing this, Ningyu's face darkened instantly. Judging from what the first prince said, he wanted to attack his family. Obviously, this was something he could not tolerate. At this moment, the Ning family in Tianqian City only had martial artists of the true martial realm. The first prince only needed to send a martial artist of the primordial core realm to destroy the Ning family. If you dare to touch the Ning family, I will make you suffer. Ningyu said coldly. You want me to suffer the consequences? What? Don't tell me you want to kill me. The first prince's lips curled into an arc and he laughed evilly. I am standing right here. Come and kill me. Don't say that I did not give you a chance. As he spoke, the first prince even smiled disdainfully. Forcefully suppressing the anger in his heart, Ningyu looked at the edge of the square, where Mo Xing was. Ningyu could almost determine that the martial artist had come with the first prince. In other words, he was the first prince's backer. If he dared to kill the first prince here, even if he severely injured the first prince, that martial artist would definitely not stand idly by. Based on his initial judgment, that martial artist was at least at the advanced yin-yang stage. With Ningyu's current strength, going against him was tantamount to courting death. Sometimes, patience was more important than impulsiveness. Don't worry, Danwu College will always be your strong shield. Suddenly, a soft voice rang in Ningyu's ear, causing Ningyu to be slightly stunned. Who are you? Ningyu asked in a low voice. Who I am is not important. What's important is the Ning family in Tianqian City. I have already sent someone over. You have nothing to worry about. That mysterious voice rang in Ningyu's ear again. As for the martial artist at the edge of the square, you don't have to worry. With me around, he will not dare to touch you. All right, since that's the case, I have nothing to worry about, Ningyu said solemnly after taking a deep breath. Actually, when that mysterious voice rang out, Ningyu had already roughly guessed his identity. He must be one of the higher-ups of Danwu College. With a backer that was no weaker than the first prince's, Ningyu straightened his back and said coldly to the first prince, Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? Oh, come at me then. Don't be so glib. Oh no. The first prince laughed sinisterly. Just as he was about to mock Ningyu, his expression changed drastically and he hurriedly retreated. However, the speed at which the first prince retreated was clearly too slow. He had only taken 3 steps back when Ningyu had already arrived in front of him. Bang! Ningyu raised his right hand, bringing with it a violent gust of yuan qi. It slammed into the first prince's chest with an unavoidable force. Chapter 4:18. Humiliation Fut. As his body hit the hard ground, the first prince felt a sweetness in his throat before he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The first prince spat out a mouthful of blood, causing the martial artists in the area to be in an uproar. The crowd first looked at the first prince, and then shifted their gazes to Ningyu. Isn't Ningyu a little too bold? He beat the first prince up in front of so many people. Isn't he afraid of being hunted down by the royal family? Hunted down by the royal family? Can the first prince represent the royal family? This time, the opinions of the martial artists in the area were divided. Some supported the first prince, while others supported Ningyu. After all, Ningyu had defeated the 2 geniuses from the Lanqing country, and the first prince was making things difficult for Ningyu. Ningyu, you have guts. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, the first prince climbed up from the ground with difficulty and said coldly, Our mountains will not change, and the rivers will continue to flow. We will meet again. As he spoke, the first prince limped out of the square. Did I ask you to leave? However, the first prince had only taken a few steps when Ningyu's voice rang in his ears. Then, Ningyu's figure flashed and landed steadily in front of the first prince. What do you want? Looking at Ningyu who had suddenly appeared in front of him, the first prince said in a low voice. I don't want anything. I just want you to swear to the heavens that you will never target the Ning family in Tianqian City, Ningyu said calmly. You want me to swear to the heavens? The first prince's mouth was slightly agape as he pointed at his nose and smiled. Have you lost your mind or are you suffering from epilepsy? Then, the first prince changed the topic and said coldly, Ever since I was born, no one has dared to force me to swear to the heavens. Oh, in that case, I am the first, Ningyu said calmly without changing his expression. You. The first prince was so angry that his face turned green. Ningyu was looking down on him, which made him very angry. He wanted to kill Ningyu right here and now. However, the first prince knew very well that with his current abilities, he was definitely not a match for Ningyu. However, making him swear a heavenly Tao oath, he would never agree to it. Right at this moment, Ningyu took a step forward, arrived before the first prince, and asked, "First prince, what's your decision? You should just give up on that thought. You want me to swear an oath to the Tao of the heavens, unless you kill me," the first prince said coldly, his tone unquestionable. "Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you?" Ningyu's eyes turned cold and all the primordial qi in his body surged out, trying to suppress the first prince. The first prince did not dare to be careless when faced with the overwhelming essence qi pressure. As he retreated, he unleashed his aura. Kai Kai. In the next moment, a look of shock appeared in the first prince's eyes, and his body fell backward. Bang! As he fell to the ground once more, the first prince's eyes revealed a vicious expression. He secretly resolved that so long as he was able to leave Wutuo City and return to the capital, he would surely send experts to kill Ningyu at the first possible moment. First prince. At the edge of the square, Mo Xing's figure flashed with the intention of charging out when he saw the first prince being struck down once more. Haha, Mo Xing, there's no need for you to interfere in a spar between two juniors, right? However, before Mo Xing could charge out, a figure approached from afar and appeared before him in the blink of an eye. After this figure appeared, he first smiled lightly, and then he said, "Ningyu is a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute, and the first prince is a top genius of the imperial family. Both of them can learn from each other and improve each other." Dan Hezi. When he saw the figure that suddenly appeared before him, Mo Xing's face instantly turned gloomy, and he said coldly, "Spar? Is there such a spar? It's obvious that the first prince is no match for Ningyu. If this goes on, the first prince will definitely be in danger." At this point, Mo Xing pointed to the first prince, who was not far away, and continued, "If something were to happen to the first prince, would you be able to bear the responsibility?" Haha, the first prince is no match for Ningyu. Why can't I see that? Dan Hezi smiled and said, "If the first prince is no match for Ningyu, he can admit defeat or make a heavenly oath." As the first prince, the future emperor of the Great Xia Kingdom, you actually want him to admit defeat? You want him to make a heavenly oath? Mo Xing coldly snorted. "Since that's the case, there's nothing I can do." Dan Hezi shrugged and chose to close his eyes to recuperate. Damn it. Dan Hezi's actions made Mo Xing extremely angry, but there was nothing he could do. In terms of cultivation, he and Dan Hezi were both late-stage yin-yang realm, but Dan Hezi's soul force was much stronger than his. If they fought, he would definitely not be Dan Hezi's match. Mo Xing practically gnashed his teeth and said, "Dan Hezi, tell me, what do I have to do to make Ningyu stop?" After a moment of silence, Dan Hezi said, "How about this, a heaven-rank high-grade artifact? What the F***CK? Why don't you go rob someone?" Hearing that, Mo Xing cried out with a dumbfounded expression on her face. Heaven-rank high-grade artifacts were extremely precious. Even he, who was at late-stage yin-yang realm, only had 2 of them. Moreover, one of them was his natal flying sword. Now, he wanted him to give one to Ningyu? He was not willing no matter what. Mo Xing, this is already a friendship price. A heaven-rank high-grade artifact in exchange for the first prince's life. No matter how I look at it, you've made a profit. When he saw Mo Xing's reaction, Dan Hezi continued. Moreover, you're saving the eldest prince. When you return to the capital, you can take a high-grade heaven-rank magic treasure from the imperial family's treasury as compensation. Ah! At this moment, a pig-slaughtering squeal resounded in the area, causing Mo Xing's heart to skip a beat. He hurriedly looked in the direction of the sound. Not far away, the first prince was kicked far away by Ningyu, letting out a hysterical shriek. Deal. Mo Xing gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, "A heaven-rank high-grade flying sword. If you tell Ning Yu to stop, I'll give it to you immediately. It's obvious that you should give me the flying sword first. Only then will I tell Ning Yu to stop, Dan Hezi said indifferently. Fine, you win. Mo Xing took out a black flying sword and casually threw it to Dan Hezi. Pa. Dan Hezi caught the black flying sword and examined it briefly. Then, he nodded and said, not bad. It is indeed a heaven-rank high-grade flying sword. Dan Hezi, hurry up and tell Ning Yu to stop. Mo Xing shouted angrily when he saw Dan Hezi examining the flying sword. Don't be anxious. The first prince won't die anytime soon. Dan Hezi smiled at Mo Xing, then sent a soul message to Ning Yu. That's enough. If you torture him anymore, Mo Xing will flip out. Understood. The corners of Ning Yu's mouth curled up into an evil smile. He raised his right leg and kicked the first prince's butt. Bang! Although Ning Yu's kick seemed sloppy and ordinary, it actually contained a wisp of soul force on his ankle. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.